What's happening?
Just watching you dance.
Live on Thursday. You got that door?
No. Watch, I'm going to sit and it's going to open.
Probably. How's everybody doing?
I'm good.
It's one of those somewhat cold, rainy days.
Where are you at?
I'm 2 hours south of Chicago and 2 hours north of St. Louis, pretty much right in the middle of the state of Illinois.
He's nowhere close to us, just like the rest of them. Nobody ever wants to be close to us, apparently.
Not a whole lot right there, is there?
Where I'm at? No,
Yeah.
not really.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I've driven through there.
Yeah, there's not a
A
whole
lot of nothing.
A lot of
What?
farms, a lot of woods. Yeah.
If you like corn, it's a great place to be, if I remember correctly.
Yes, a ton, an absolute ton.
What are you working on behind you there?
That is actually a funny car body. That is the original 1976 Dodge Supercharger that Kenny Safford drove for Mr. Norm from Grand Spalding Dodge.
Wow.
That's a cool find.
That is
Yes.
pretty cool.
It is a cool find. I mean, you don't always find funny car bodies that are buildable. I mean,
No.
occasionally you'll find them, but they're so crashed that, or they've been set outside for so long they've delaminated to the point there's no saving it.
Yeah, this one's in pretty rough shape.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. But
YouTube magic makes it look better than that.
yeah, the front end, the nose of it's pretty well trashed. So we found it probably 12 years ago, and it was sitting in a grain silo in Nebraska. So I used to help Norm out a lot with car shows and drag racing events for about 10 years. And we were always scouring for stuff. And we got this lead, and we wanted to buy it. It got bought out from underneath of us. And then a buddy of mine finally got it back not too long ago, and he's got the van that matches this. So I'm going to build an engine for that, and we're going to attempt to fix this thing. It's pretty rough. So when it was retired, it got turned into the body went onto a sand drag rail. So, yeah.
So basically, it got sandblasted for years.
Yes, it did. It got beat up pretty good, but we're gonna try to fix it.
It's fiberglass. It's fixable.
Yeah, and we do have a chassis from that era too. So.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's a big bonus.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in, Travis. I'm not sure. I do apologize, but I haven't seen you here before.
Travis is a fellow Mopar guy in that world, and he's participating in the No Name Nationals, and
Gotcha.
he's got some really wicked Dodge trucks, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Dodge fan, but I do like Jeep, and I own a Jeep from the Dodge era. So I guess I'm sort of a Mopar person, sort of.
I've had my fair share of Jeeps. They're fun.
I love my Jeep. I absolutely love my Jeep. She's got a Fiat, so.
It's starting to act like one, too.
Yeah.
It's making roller coaster noises.
Here we go
It's making me
again.
upset.
See, my whole background was Mopar, but I'm building a Ford, and I helped build a Pontiac. So it's kind of a midlife crisis thing, I guess, or midlife car crisis. But I like the Ford stuff too. So
I have a big soft spot in my heart for Pontiac, like big.
I was never a huge believer, and when my buddy got this car, I started doing all my homework on it, and holy cow. I mean, the amount of torque those things make low end is insane.
Mostly.
You can,
A few years back, I built a 62 Catalina, and, it's just a big car, and I slammed it and stuff. I don't know. They're different.
Yes.
But the worst part about them is getting parts. You just can't buy parts for them.
No, and we decided to change the body mounts on this one.
Oh, did you ever find them?
Well, we found them, but nobody. So it's the same chassis as any 68 to 72 GM, right? I mean,
right, it's A body, right? Yeah.
But the body mounts are different. Nobody makes the poly ones for it, so we went with the rubber, and it's like that is just so weird. Everywhere you can find Chevelle, all of that, but you can't find them for the GTO.
There's a few good places to go for stuff. Ames Performance is one of them. You'll find more there than anywhere else.
Yeah.
Ames?
Ames, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Ames Performance.
So
Great guy that runs the place too.
Another new place that I'm guessing is from you too.
Yeah, Patrick, he's got a Dick Landy Mopar. It was built at the Dick Landy shop back in the day, and he's got a turbo small block in it, and he always says it's slow, but we all know that's not true.
You got to watch those guys that say their cars are slow.
Hey, Travis, I appreciate that very much. I need watch hours, guys. I'm realizing that I'm never going to make it to my goal, even though
I think
I'm 2 hours away, 200 hours
I think
away.
part of the problem with the watch hours is everyone's going in the nice time of year.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah.
I've been on it, all day because I've had to. I've had to work
Turlo!
on it, and then I came home and made dinner on it. So it's throbbing.
Yeah.
She hurt her ankle.
I sprained it. I re-sprained it. Well,
Saw the picture. It didn't look good.
no, but because I still want to go to work, I haven't told my job, and
Right.
so I walk around and I take it, but it's hard because every time that, by the time I sit down, it's like throbbing.
Well, you'll have the weekend off. Maybe you can recover.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys could explain to her when you're going for a walk or even just in general, having good footwear really does help out in life.
Very much
It
so.
does.
Also, if you have back issues, man, good footwear will help a back issue.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
So I never wear good footwear. Like I'm year round, I just wear old Chucks, and it catches up to me.
Those are the worst things you could possibly wear for your feet.
I know.
Listen, I was trying to do the right thing. I was exercising. I was.
I won't do that again.
Yeah. Heaven forbid I try to do something healthy and then I get hurt. Just saying.
It's like you hear those horror stories about all these health nuts, and then you hear them at like 55 years old, like some runner, health guru pushes this diet, croaks,
Right.
Yeah. Hey, it's Bob.
Hey, I'm Forsaken Steel.
I haven't seen you in a minute, buddy.
I know, how you been?
Doing well.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Excellent.
This is Bob. He's one of our mascots.
Yep. And he's the reason why I'm on Earth.
There you go.
It's true. Hey, Bob, I got a new video for you. It'll be out at 9 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, okay.
But you can't watch it until everyone's home.
Oh, no.
Oh,
That's the rule.
that's true. I have to
That's
wait.
rough.
I have to wait for everybody to get home.
That they know better. I can't miss Forsaken Steel or Restoration or Pudding.
I'm repping some pudding right now.
So where are you guys all
Swag.
located at? Where are you guys located at?
We're at New Hampshire.
Yeah, we're up in New Hampshire.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a haul from the Midwest.
We're only probably 2 hours from the border.
No.
Oh, wow.
More.
Maybe 2.5, maybe.
I think Pittsburgh is.
I could. So, I'm originally from St. Jay, Vermont, and that was roughly 45 minutes from the Derby line, which is Canada right there. So,
2 hours.
So you guys get the harsh, snowy winters.
oh shit, yeah.
It's still snowing outside right now. You can see. See how bright it is?
Yeah.
So
Reflecting
actually,
off the snow.
I was listening to the radio this morning, and there are places way up by Pittsburgh that have had snow on the ground.
Yeah. Mongrel, when they were going back from Cletus's place in Kansas, he's in Kansas, right?
Cletus is in Arkansas.
So, Mongrel was driving home, and he's in Canada, and he was doing some short videos, and that poor Mustang was covered in salt, and I yelled at my phone. I'm like, why?
See, that's the bad part. Here in Illinois, they like oversalt the roads. It's like a salt flat. And, like you hate this time of year, like the last month or whatever, because if it gets any sort of snow, they'll just dump a ton because they go by what they used up the previous year.
Yeah.
So when that happens, it's like, no, we want the rain to wash all that stuff off.
Ooh.
That's a good. That right there is a good vehicle to be picked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
81
get
turbo Trans Am.
we get
Oh, yeah.
stupid amount of salt up here. If you've ever watched any of my videos, it's usually
Yes.
so now I have to reconstruct this piece because the weather took it.
Yep.
David,
That's what you
beautiful
run
here.
into here.
finally freaking done with that bumper structure. I am so excited.
You'll find cars around here, and it's the first thing you do is crawl underneath of it. I don't care what the body looks like, because anybody can slap onto it and something and sell it. And you get underneath some of these cars, and you're like, yep, that one is completely gone.
Yeah, that's the joy of living in the South. So I live in Tennessee, in East Tennessee. It's beautiful here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the cars still rust a lot. The older stuff does because if it's been parked out because the humidity here is so high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically, we live in a rainforest, and we just get so much rain. So we still get a decent amount of rust, but not salt style rust. So it's different. It's not on every single inch of the car. Usually, it's just lower quarters and stuff like that will rust.
Then you get further south, you get cars that rot from the
from salt.
Yeah.
In the air. So, really, Montana's a great place to go pick up cars. It's really dry there.
Yes.
But I can't afford to ship a car from Montana, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I know. Tennessee's where I'm gonna end up.
It's beautiful here.
Yep, I drive through there a couple times a year, and it's like, man, I need to be here like now.
They're giving out pretty good tax cuts right now, is what I'm hearing.
Great place to live. All these people keep moving here though, which may ruin it. So
see that you look at what's going on in Texas, and people are like, it's a good thing when you start pulling business and people, but it's like, hey, what you guys were fleeing from, don't support that when you come here, And Illinois
here, you're going to end up with an overpopulation issue. That's really, I think, going to be the biggest issue is the overpopulation of areas that really weren't meant to support it. Like the town I live in is number 9 in growth for the state.
So where about, like you said, Eastern Tennessee?
Yeah, East Tennessee. So I'm just south of Knoxville.
Okay.
I'm about 40 minutes from the Smoky Mountain National Park. So,
yeah,
just, it's a nice spot that we're in. But everybody knows about it, and it's in all the travel guides. And it's like, oh, the peaceful side. Come visit these people, blah, blah, blah. And
then it becomes quickly not peaceful.
Yep. So when I grew up here, you used to be able to drive all the way across town in like 10 minutes because there was like 3 red lights. Now it's literally 18-minute drive to what used to take 3.
That's the way it is here. I can remember when I was younger, from Guilford to Laconia, you could get back and forth here in no time. But now there's so many stinking stoplights.
And the traffic.
Oh yeah, we're coming up on summer people coming up here in the next month.
Yeah. So I don't have to worry about that in Illinois.
Yeah. Travis, we don't claim
state.
Memphis as Tennessee anymore.
It's Arkansas.
It's Arkansas. That's North Arkansas or East Arkansas. No thanks. That's a terrible place. And Power Tour kicks off there this year, which I intend to do. And my biggest thought is, sure hope my car makes it 2 nights in Memphis.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
no kidding.
So, I mean, it is what it is. You just hope it makes it, and you can do whatever you want to where they can't start it. They're not going to do that anyways. They're going to come in and they're going to take your entire car on a rollback, and it's gone.
And it's gone.
So,
Yep.
Yeah. So, Power Tour has an issue with stolen vehicles every year. Every year.
Well, they say where they stop. They give the route.
Everybody knows where you're going to be.
So yeah,
I mean, it's a rolling car show, so that there's going to be. My stuff looks like garbage, but a lot of people's stuff looks good, and those cars are, they're easy picking. So just make sure your insurance is right before you go on Power Tour.
Yep,
all you got to do,
So I live out in the country, in between a town that's about 160,000 people and a town that's like 2,000, and I'm right in the middle, pretty much out in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of nice. It's quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got what's called Bike Week up here in June,
Yeah.
and that brings what did we hit last year? Since the Rona, it's been really whacked, but
1 year was like 100,000, wasn't it?
yeah, it's got upwards of 150,000, 200,000 people, and that's a lot for a small area like this, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're running 99 years, I think. It's the longest. It's the longest bike week in existence, and it's weird how a lot of people don't even know about it. You know,
Didn't know it existed. Also,
Yeah.
I don't ride a bike, so
Well, it's
outside my world.
Yeah.
So Bob and I are originally from the very southern part of the state, kind of by the Mass border. I'd never heard of this town that we live in now, except for motorcycles. I mean, I was like, oh yeah, I pictured it as like all woods and forest and like in the White Mountains. And then I moved here and I was like, yeah, that's not what it is. But I'm close to the White Mountains Park. Like, we're pretty close. We're only an hour and a half away from the White Mountains Forest and the park. But yeah.
Well, Tennessee wise, I'm
Yeah.
like 6.5 hours from Nashville. Pretty much
Yeah.
straight. Yeah, it's not too bad.
It's straight. It's probably straight up, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We last year Power Tour went through your area, so
Yep.
kind of ish.
What was it on 5574?
I don't remember it. Well, that was last year.
It probably
I drove
was. I remember
6,000
seeing it.
miles last year for that.
Yeah.
My car didn't make it, so I ended up taking Plan B, which was just a Jeep Grand Cherokee. But whatever, I was still going to do the trip, and then I drove all the way out to done Route 66 to LA.
So you'd have been right. You'd have been just a couple miles from my house. If it was
Really?
on
Is that right?
66. Yeah.
A whole lot of nothing up through there for 66. Occasionally, you'll see like a little sign that said or something and there's like one old gas station I found. It wasn't much.
Yep. There's not a whole lot.
Unfortunately, the entire Route 66 is just about done.
Aww.
Time has taken its toll on it.
Big time.
Nobody wants to put any money in it. There's a few hot spots that are still there, and hit those. But I drove, a couple thousand miles on it, and a lot of it's just terrible road.
Yep.
And there's just nothing. It's just
there's a whole section of it that got bypassed.
Yes.
And it was
So
kept for a
40 took it.
while.
Yeah.
And they just tore it out, and it's just like, no, don't do that,
Yeah. So, and there's some really depressing parts about it too, because you'll see like all these old things that were there and they're just abandoned now and stuff. There's a really famous gas station that used to have it has two arrows in the ground. I think it's two. And I saw it, but it's a ruin. I mean, and they've like spray painted all over the building and stuff. So
there was one town like
heartbreaking.
You would have drove by through here, and it's still on the map, but it really doesn't exist. And it was like a train depot area, all this stuff. Like this post office depot, and it's still there, but it's all fallen in. And you look at the history of it, and there's this huge grove there that was really popular with travelers way back when. And you look at it now and you're going, I could totally see why that was so popular. But after the highways were built, the school went away, the town went away, and that stuff's just falling apart. Yeah.
And, the places that are still there are really touristy, really touristy. And, which is, that's okay too. I'm glad I did it now, but, in 20 years from now, it may not even be something the road might be there, but there literally may be no enjoyment left in it, so you just never know. But I'm glad I did it, but it was a long trip and it was wild. It just, I saw so much stuff and your brain you can't comprehend it all.
No.
There was so much.
Like Illinois 66 follows all the way up to Chicago, all the way to St. Louis. Some sections are gone, some aren't. Some areas keep the roads nice, and some areas don't. And you're the areas that don't, those roads are just trash. I know the road by me used to be kept nice, and late at night, that was like drag racing heaven. And
Yeah.
now it's just like there's so many holes and it just bumps. I mean, it's trashed.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, it was enjoyable, but it wasn't an enjoyable ride hardly ever. There's very few places where you go, well, this road has been taken care of. They've paved this and taken care of it. But like the halfway mark of 66, I got stopped there. That section's really nice. You could tell like that town takes a really good care of their section of road because it's the halfway mark and they drive a good deal of tourism based off that.
Where's that at?
A lot of restaurants and stuff. So that was kind of cool. And there's some really cool places, but it's just not. It wasn't what I expected. I'll tell you that.
Right.
It wasn't what I expected.
Where was the halfway point at on that?
I don't even remember. I think it was in. I think it's in Arizona, if I remember correctly. That was last year. There again, I'd been up driving for days. It seems like a really fun deal. Sorry.
That's a bucket list item.
Yeah.
Do that.
So that was on my bucket list, and then one of the things I've always wanted to do was see Cadillac Ranch, and that's part of it. So I got to see Cadillac Ranch.
Nice.
I actually went there twice because that is, I don't know, that was, to me, I remember reading about Cadillac Ranch when I was a kid in like 87, 86, 87, and it was still fairly new. And I remember reading about it, and I thought, I just have to go see that. And then, to actually be able to go there and see it, although it's not in its original location, I don't care about that. But because they had to move them, it was, I don't know, it was just really cool. And then I tagged it with my channel name and stuff. And, it's all, I got all that on video. And
do you remember, do you remember the movie Wayne's World?
Yep.
And there was the scene where it was like the car on the spikes, the cars on the spike, like at the mall or whatever. So like we went to go like, oh, that's cool. And I don't remember how old we were. And we went to go check it out. We missed it by like 2 weeks of that thing getting torn down.
Oh, really?
It was another one of those like iconic things that just goes bye-bye. A lot of that stuff was.
People used to really travel more by car.
Yes.
Like to travel.
Yes.
Not just to get there. So, I don't know. Things are just different.
I travel. I'm the same way. Like every year I head down south, probably a couple times a year. I know for work I have to fly, but when I travel, it's like you travel,
Yeah.
And like this year I'm usually in Florida, more in the St. Pete's area, but I'm going to be in the Destin area. A couple hours from Gulf Shores, a couple hours from New Orleans, then a couple hours straight north, and that's what I normally do. I don't want to go to one spot. I'll hit, quite a few spots. And my 17-year-old daughter complains about it. Why are we still in the car? It's like, get used to it.
Yeah, just that's how life is, kid. I've got a 9-year-old, and my wife booked a cruise. So she booked a cruise for us, and we're leaving the week before Power Tour, and then the day we get back is the day before Power Tour. So I got the idea that I should LS swap my Camaro and actually do Power Tour this year because I wasn't going to do it. And so now I'm under the gun. I got 5 weeks left.
Man, I tell you what, I'm building a car for the No Name Nationals, and it was my uncle's car, and I completely tore it down, and I'm building a stroker motor for it, and everything has gone somewhat smooth, and then all these little things come up, and like right now, it's like tomorrow I'm going to be checking the valve clearance to the pistons. And I'm 10 thousandths out of the hole, and I got a pretty healthy lift cam, and it's like, okay, I can just get a different gasket. Just get a Cometic thicker gasket. Well, those are due in November, and I'm calling like everywhere just in case, So, yeah.
Well, I ordered the Truck Norris, BTR Truck Norris cam, which Hawks Motorsports says we have this in stock. I order it from them, then they say we do not have this in stock, and they ship me half the order. And now I got a message today. They're 2 weeks out. They got to grind it and send it to me. I don't know how to tell them, but in 2 weeks, if it's not here, I'm going to cancel that order, and they're just going to have to figure it out later because I ain't got time to wait on them. I may have to run with a stock cam just because I can't get one.
I'm under the gun too with a lot of stuff, and you're sitting here looking at deadlines and like
Yep.
I have work to do, but it's like, oh yeah, I need to do all this. I have 95% of the parts I need to get started on because I'm
Yeah.
waiting on the other 5%,
Yep.
and it's frustrating, really frustrating.
Yeah, it's gonna be, and I also have another car that I'm putting a motor in right now that just needs the motor swap so I can sell it to pay for all of this. So, and then I finished another car last week, and it's it's just like I just have so much other stuff I had to do. So it is what it is. I'm gonna thrash on it. I think I can get it done. It's gonna be a lot of YouTube content, that's for sure.
Mr. F-250.
That's what I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to get this done. We're almost done with that GTO. Playing around with that 68 Dart. We're just gonna have a whole lot of fun this summer. Once we get everything done, dialed in where we want, and then hopefully not break a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and you might. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope not to leave any of my engine behind. I want to bring it all home when I'm done.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the fun part is like you get that far and deep into a build and you get it done. You don't want to explode it, but if you explode it, at least do it in the biggest fashion that you can and get it on video.
Make it memorable. Yeah.
Make it memorable. Yep.
Yeah. So last year I did full suspension on this car. It's got I upgraded to 2010 to 2015 Camaro brakes, so it's got 15-inch rotors up front, 6-piston calipers. I put a lot of money in this thing, but it ran, and then right before Power Tour, it wouldn't run anymore. It stopped running well, and I've never been able to get it to run right since. So we're just going to fix that and just pull it out and LS swap it and put a CD009 out of a Nissan behind it and see how it goes.
That'll be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
You should bring that 305 up here. We could use it.
Yeah.
This 305 actually probably has a home. So
there's a little bit
water.
There's a what?
It has a home. Hey, so listen, real quick. I'm going to show you guys something. Maybe.
That was a quick call and poop and split.
What's going on?
Don't go tripping.
Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
Whose is that?
So this gentleman, Liberty, and I actually know his real 100% name, but I met him last year when I bought my 61 Falcon delivery. This gentleman also has one, which is pretty rare to begin with.
That red one?
There it is.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, so that's his delivery wagon.
Oh, it's got a sunroof. You gotta get one.
Does it have a sunroof?
It's got a sunroof.
It's got a sunroof right there, but that is not stock. I'll tell you that.
Oh, good. You can make yours.
No, I can't. I love the looks of without the windows because somebody put camper windows in mine.
Yeah,
and that's going to go away when I have to ultimately replace this piece of sheet metal here.
Really reminds me of my first.
Oh, it's beautiful. I can't.
That just screams gasser right there.
I don't know what I'm going to do yet.
You got to make a plan because I know what mine would be. It'd be bagged on 20s, and I would do a twin turbo V6 out of a late model truck, EcoBoost engine in it. That's what I'd do to it. And you remember the rag tops they used to run in the 90s in the like the extended cab trucks that they rolled back like a sunroof, but it was like canvas. That's what I would do. I know what I would do with that thing.
See, I would go gasser with it. It would get straight gasser. Axle. It would get a massive tunnel ram engine.
Yeah, they're so crazy with a V8. They are nuts.
I have a 289 that's closer to that year. I think it's a 63 or a 64 289 that I might put in that because that was originally going in my Mustang. but I'm kind of thinking that it needs to go in that wagon. It's
So
a
you're
very
gonna LS swap the Mustang.
See, that would be so much fun.
closer. If you were closer, you'd get one of these. I don't know what I'm going to do with the Mustang. I kind of want a 351.
Boss 302, clone one.
I ain't got that kind of money, man.
It is expensive. I'm going to be doing a unique engine build, hopefully this winter. The DZ302 Chevy from the '69 Camaro days. It's called the EZ302, where it's a Vortec 350. You take the baby LT1 out of the Buick olds that were like the 4.3 V8. It's a 3-inch crank. You put that in there with those rods, 302 pistons at 30 over, and it's geometrically the same as a 302. But you have the benefit of a roller cam, and you can hog out those Vortec heads much better than anything that Chevy had in '69. And so that's what I'm
Be a
gonna.
screamer.
I'm gonna do it as a budget build type thing. Just to see what I can get out of it. I've read a lot on it and seen what would work and what wouldn't, and just start playing around with it.
What I discovered was LS swap and budget build do not actually go together.
No.
So some of the parts are inexpensive, but if you want a decent engine, you're gonna have to pay for it.
Yep.
Or you're gonna have to build the one you get for $500. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like there is no the days of cheap ones are gone, and they're getting harder to get. Even like the truck engines for $1,000 now, that's a good deal. Where used to you get them all day long, $500 for 120,000 miles or so. Those
around here, it's cheaper to find out the hagged out truck that ain't running no more for next to nothing versus going to a junkyard. I don't know. It's weird because I have a friend that's kind of big in the LSs, and it's usually the early '90s trucks he swaps them into, and he could every junkyard around. Oh, sold out. Yep. He found this truck. It was a piece of crap, but he got it for next to nothing, and it ran good, and tore it apart, and that's where all the problems were found. So
yeah. So I bought an engine, and it was last week's video for me, and it was the only one they had. At a junkyard, and I can find some that are $4,000 and $5,000. But if I'm going to spend $4,000 or $5,000, of course I don't have the time for this, but I would rather build a nice engine for that kind of money.
Yeah,
because you can build a really good engine for that.
You ever heard of Texas Speed?
Yes, I don't have $20,000 to drop.
Well, the funny part about it is, I was the guy that I use for machine work. I help out, and he was a childhood friend of my dad's. The guy raced professionally, front engine dragsters and funny cars for years, and he called me up and he's like, "You know anything about LSs?" And I'm like, "Enough to be dangerous. I haven't cracked that can yet." And he had a set of these heads there. He wanted me to look at them, and I'm looking at these Texas Speed heads, nice CNC port. Everything's nice, and there's numbers on them. So I just called him up and was asking him questions. They're factory castings that they get, and then they CNC port them.
Yeah,
they're not casting any of their own stuff. But the cool part about it is, once you see what they've done, it's like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah,
it might not look as pretty. Yeah,
most definitely. So I was looking at some of their pre-built engines actually this past week. You can get a really nice engine for $15,000.
Yeah,
and that sounds like a lot of money, but if you're building $80,000 to $100,000 cars, $15,000 for an engine really isn't that bad. So. But that's a bare, that's just a long block. So it's, nothing with it. But it doesn't, there's some really expensive LS parts out there. That's what I've learned. I mean,
yes, there is.
Man, I can't play with those boys. And
that's the crazy part. Like, I kind of like the idea of the guys that you see have some shitbox car and they get a junkyard motor with an eBay turbo kit and just send it, and the thing is blazing fast and blow it up, and they get another one.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Watch it. Oh, of course. As soon as I exit out of it, piece of crap.
But I've been thinking about diving into the world of LS at some point. Not anytime soon, just because of what I got going on, but there's some cool stuff that can be done with them.
This is the furthest I've ever been into one. Oh, that looks nice.
Oh, yeah, it does.
So that's 170. Am I right on that, Liberty? It looks like a 2-barrel, probably an auto light. And I actually did these this header system on my Mustang originally years ago. You can buy those off eBay. They're pretty cheap, but it takes
Is it a split?
Yeah, it's 3 collectors, dump it into one, 3 collectors, dump it into another, so it's true dual. I used Flowmaster Super 10. Holy shit, was that car loud?
Probably sounded good though.
When you were going down the road, it sounded like you were going a million miles an hour.
What? Yeah, I bet it did.
So I've got an 82 Dodge D150 that I want to do something.
Damn,
with
that's a nice Trans Am,
isn't it?
Yes, that is.
Those are not original snowflakes, are they?
No, they're not snowflakes. So no, those are. Looks like they're 18-inch somethings. I can't tell what they are, but the 17 or 18s.
It's a 200 with a Weber 3236. I thought it was a 170. I thought maybe that was the other Falcon we were talking about. Where am I going? That's pretty sweet.
That's a good looking car too.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Show me in. So, I have to say something really quick.
Fire away.
It's the cutest thing. So, I'm sitting here listening to everyone talk. Meanwhile, I'm watching Shelby steal my stepdaughter's blanket. She drug it all the way across the floor, put it next to the table, and laid down so she could be near us.
Nice.
She felt like she was being abandoned.
It was funny because the way she moves the blanket, she digs it. So she kind of looked like one of those dung beetles. She's like digging it, pulling it across the house. Now she's just sitting there so that we can see her in the kitchen.
So that's a T5 setup. That's probably one of the most popular swaps you can do to these Mustangs and Falcons.
I sort of say, is that a Mustang T5?
It would be a T5 out of a Fox body from
out of a Fox body. That's a pretty good transmission.
It is. They're pretty beefy. You could put some power to them.
It's much better than the T5 that they put in the Camaro, which you think would be the same, but will not take over 290 horse.
Yeah,
they just will not take it.
Jeep did a T5 in the YJ builds they did.
Yes, they did.
Yep. Those are pretty bulletproof too.
I'm sorry, but my dinner's here.
Oh, you're just. Hey, I thought we were all past the hiding to eat in front of the camera stage.
Y'all just don't need to see this. It's amazing, and you're all going to be so jealous. Well, I'll show you. Homemade nachos.
Oh, there you go.
But I use nachos to dip with. I don't like them in the oven, and it's amazing. It's truly amazing.
The one inline 6 motor I want to get a hold of is they had them in Australia in the Valiant Chargers. It's a 265 inline Hemi 6-cylinder. And you can get a package. Yeah, you could get a package where they called it a Hemi 6-pack. And it was not a slant 6. It's not an inline 6. It's an actual straight 6, 265 Hemi head. And it's got 3 2-barrels on it, Weber side drafts, and those little engines scream.
Man, that thing has to look awesome.
Look it up. Look up Valiant Charger. Look up Hemi Valiant Charger.
Dare I ask, did you get that one like out of a junkyard, or did you grab it offline? I know they make a whole kit to put the T5s into the Falcons and Mustangs. Yeah, I'm actually getting pretty excited about the Falcon that I have. We got a running last year. The transmission, I'm kind of doubting it's going to go very far. But I think I'm going to make my own floors. David and I were talking about this the other day. I think I'm just going to make my own floors instead of purchasing them because, that's going to be $500-$600.
If you can even get them in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I have a whole sheet, a huge sheet of sheet metal out there that I can make my own crap with. I've gained quite a bit of confidence over the last week and a half here with that bumper structure. Well, most people don't know, but my mother's vehicle, I picked up the Ford, what is that thing? Focus. Behind the bumper is the bumper structure. It's all rotted to death. So I've cut all that crap out and I've rebuilt the structure and just finished putting the reinforcement bar on today. So I'm pretty happy that part's done. That's going to be my next video coming up.
Tim!
Mr. Tim, how are you feeling, buddy? Glad to see you're in here tonight.
The nice part about doing floors is they're pretty much hidden.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Liberty,
That's a cool looking engine.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
That whole car's wild. The graphics on it, like
beautiful.
Mopar in 70 had the twin snorkel scoops. This has got that one that's offset because it's a inline motor and factory slot style polished wheels. I mean,
and it came with all the really cool classic colors too. It looks like.
Yep. So
absolutely cool car. That pink, I forget what it's called, but I love that pink.
Yeah.
So I like the weird colors. I like the purple and I like the pink. I don't know.
Plum crazy.
See, I like the Panther pink. The Panther pink's a cool color.
Panther pink, yes. I love
it. One of the coolest cars ever, in my opinion. Not as far as speed, but if you were just go cruising, 70 Challenger TA and Panther pink with white interior and white vinyl top.
Yeah.
They look sharp.
I could never have one with a white interior though, because it'd be disgusting.
I know, that's the only problem. I'd have it trash in a day.
Yeah, well, I'm always dirty.
Yeah.
So Brittany's never heard of Plum Crazy Purple, so I'm showing her.
I want a Plum Crazy Purple El Camino.
We can do that.
Yeah.
It's definitely not right, but hell, I don't care. I'll paint whatever color you want on that turd.
It's not right. That thing deserves to be on that El Camino.
That is a Mopar color.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Add some pearl or metallic in it and just send it. It'd be good.
Oh my god.
I'll put whatever you
want.
want.
It would go with pearl.
Well, the thing
it would.
What tells me is it has a really cool pinstripe on the back. It's like one of those
I have a guy that can pinstripe because he's already offered to come down and do the tractor.
Really?
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know that yet. He does wicked old school stuff, so
I can see things happening. I got to get the rest of the parts first to put together.
So pinstriping is on the list of things I want to learn how to do.
You want to learn? I don't think I have a steady enough hand. I know I don't have a steady enough hand.
I don't know that I do or don't, but I want to try.
Try doing Silverleaf or Gold Leaf. Learn that.
Also looks cool.
That's actually not that bad to do. Outlining it's the hard part, but actually doing the Silverleaf isn't. Like once you lay out your pattern and you mask it off and you put down like this tacky style glue, and then you just lay your silver on it or your gold leaf, and then you brush it away and then you turn it, and it's just doing the outlines right. I've done it in small pieces for like motorcycles, but nothing like size of a car.
Right.
He does have the snowflakes for it.
Original snowflakes.
Yeah. I know
that the snowflakes in 17s.
Yeah, I was going to say
that too.
They've remade them for modern day builds. Man, I'm jealous about that car. I don't even want to know what you paid for it. It doesn't even matter. If you got one, don't ever let it go.
Cars are expensive. That's what I know.
Yes, they are.
I kind of can't wait to get my Mustang out of the storage. I've been thinking about it, but you know what happens when I bring that out? Another excuse before I get to the other Mustang.
Yep.
He's got to work through it.
You won't kill me if you don't get on this 66 soon.
The Mustang is a deeper thing for him, and he's just going to. It's one of those things he's just going to have to go out in the garage, face it,
and just do it.
And just start cutting.
It's going to be an obsession.
That's the problem. Every stinking time I've ever worked on this car, it became an obsession beyond.
I understand.
It does that quickly.
Every dollar, every minute, everything. I haven't worked on the car 4 years, almost 5 years. Thank God, because I just would be brokered and broke. I have so many brand new parts. I have wheelwood set up for the brakes in the front, just sitting over my storage, brand new. Yeah, I have parts. I have a new gas tank, new sending unit. I have every panel to make this thing solid again. We just got to do it. Just stop talking about it and do it.
Exactly.
Can't wait.
And
I mean, you were telling me you were going to do it 8 months ago when I met you.
I know.
Hey, there's your hours right there. Your watch hours. Just do lives. Just do lives on that, like 2 hours a week. Set
I
up,
told
start
him-
cutting.
Told him when I first met him, I said that 66 is how you get known.
Yeah,
I mean, it just is. That's how you get known.
I would love to have a 66 fastback.
I would love the fastback. So they make a kit you can actually buy brand new. Because the only other way to make yours a fastback is find a donor.
Yeah.
Or something that's all rotted up.
I'll be right back.
That is very magical. I feel like I just walked into Narnia.
There's not much difference between the coupe and the fastback. It's just the roof, windows, little stuff like that. But the rest of the body's all the same. I really wish I could afford to do the fastback.
And it's crazy because, like, when cars were still expensive, but not near as what they are, I'll be 43 this year, so it was probably early 20s. There was a used car dealer at Delton Old Cars, and in the showroom was a red 66 fastback, 289 4-speed, and the 289 had the Cobra dual quad intake and all that stuff done to it. It was a beautiful car. And I was always a Mopar guy. I'm like, man, this thing is just gorgeous, right? But it was like $20,000. And then you're like, holy crap, that's a lot of money. Now it's like, whew, jump on that thing in a heartbeat. It was so nice.
Yeah, I really wish that these cars weren't becoming so stupid in prices.
Everything is. Yep. Even the four
even
wagons.
Even the coupe. Let's see. I bought that 9 years ago, 10 years ago. It was maybe a $500 or $600 car then, and now you look at them and they're stupid. They're 3, 4, 10 grand. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And that's just in a 10-year span.
Yeah, last winter I bought a 82 Dodge D150. It's one of the old Prospector Sports or whatever it was. 2-wheel drive long bed. Texas truck. It's got a little rust in it, but it's got great patina, solid frame. Slant 6, and someone just said, hey, I know this guy's selling this. He's going to scrap it if not. I went and looked at it, and I'm like, I really don't need another project, but it was $100. $100. So I took it, and transmission slipped like hell. I don't give a shit. I'm going to end up doing something with it fun. But it's like, you can't find stuff like that anymore.
So anybody that's ever watched my channel knows I have enough projects to keep me busy for quite a while.
Yeah.
And then out of the blue last year, that Falcon wagon that I got just come across Marketplace, and I'm like, that's a cool car. I went to bed. I wake up the next day, and I'm like, it pops up again. I'm like, that's a cool car. So I messaged him, and I was just like, hey, man, really cool car you got there. I don't have the money for it, but I just want you to know that's a really kick-ass car. End up striking up a conversation with the guy, and next thing you know, it's on the trailer on its way here. And I'm like, how do I do this to myself?
He showed me the picture, and I was like,
yes.
You want to buy a hearse?
Destroyer.
Really cool.
I want to buy a hearse. Thank you.
I wouldn't be opposed to a hearse.
You just said, were we watching one last night? You said no hearse?
No, that was the woman on the video.
Oh, maybe it was.
Because I was out doing dishes.
Destroyer's in here. What's up, man?
I wouldn't say no to a hearse.
Hey, Destroyer.
So I've got a friend that's a really good paint and body guy, and he's constantly doing stuff with cars. And he got himself a super nice 68 Torino fastback. GT, 4-speed car, completely solid. And it's like, Eddie, you can't sell that car. You can't sell that because he turns them around pretty quick.
Oh,
He
yeah.
didn't pay jack for this car. And I'm like, Eddie,
Yes.
don't sell it. Don't sell it. Don't sell it. And he got this ridiculous offer and sold it. I'm like, no, I just fell in love with that car. Such a cool body style.
Yeah, Cletus is in here too. What's up, man? So you're pretty much talking about Forsaken here. He buys them and gets rid of them. And he's
enjoy working on them so much.
He's already talking about one that ain't even done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, this Camaro's for sale. You got the money, I'll sell it to you right now. You know, that's just how it is. Everything's for sale. If it don't breathe, it's for sale. So, but yeah, I've built stuff, and I used to buy a lot of stuff and resell it when I was younger. Back when you could still get cars pretty cheap. And, you know, you used to be able to get a second-gen Camaro for, $500. It ran, everywhere. And they'd always need the same things. So every one of them had a bad carburetor, a busted radiator. Almost every single one of them I bought for like 5 years. So you put a carburetor kit in it and buy a radiator for it, which used to be $58 at AutoZone, and get them running again and, do a few minor little things to them, hit them with a buffer. It's a $1,500 car. And I used to do that a lot. So it was good money. And it was just something to do on the side, extra cash, and we should drag all kinds of stuff in. I don't know. Drug a lot of Pontiacs in. And then I really got bit by the Pontiac bug. So
Pontiacs are cool cars, man. Like I said, they grew on me pretty quick once I started diving deep into how those engines are designed, and like, holy cow. And some of the could have been with the Ram Air 5 and some of the other stuff where, the Super Duty stuff, holy cow, that stuff was just nightmare scenario.
They make a Ram Air 5 head now.
I know.
You can buy it. I mean, it is a thing.
It's expensive.
My buddy, he's been in some of my videos, my buddy Lee. Oh, bless you.
Sorry,
He's got a 69. He's got a 69 GTO. It's got a 455 with Ram Air 4 heads on it and stuff. Ram Air 4 intake. That thing is bad. It is like legit scare you bad. You got a 4-speed.
That's like this GTO that we put together. My buddy got it, and it was his uncle's car, and it had a 455 in it. 4-barrel cam, and it just always ran odd. You do this. So we decided to pull the heads and get new heads and all that, and discovered it had a cylinder with a huge groove in it and a broken valve. So it went just full bore after that. Had the block splayed with 4-bolt, and that's the only thing stock on it. Kaufman heads that have been gone through, Kaufman intake, Holley EFI, Doug's headers. I mean, it is legit, and it's well north of 600, and it's scary fast.
So this motor was built by Bob Crawford. I don't know. You don't know who Bob Crawford is probably, but he's a big-time Pontiac engine builder, and he just happened to live where I live or close to where we live. And he was friends with my buddy Lee, and he bought this motor out. It was in a race car, and they pulled it out of the drag car for the season, and they were going to go through it. So they went through it and hadn't made it back in yet. My buddy Lee saw it. And he was like, "Hey, would you sell that motor?" And he was like, "Of course I'd sell it."
Yeah.
So he bought this motor, and he was like, "But I want." My buddy Lee told him, he wanted it tuned down a little bit so it was streetable. Still wicked, but not methanol wicked. So they did some stuff to it, and I think he just bought the block, just the rotating assembly in the block originally, and then he put those Ram Air 4 heads on it, and Bob did a bunch of stuff to it. Yeah, it's wicked. It is. I keep telling him, I was like, I'd like to drive it, but I'm terrified I'll destroy your car, and then I'll have to owe you a $60,000 GTO.
Yeah,
I just can't do that.
Well, like this car, we know we're going to have to put a different rear end underneath of it. It's just going to explode. But with street tires, I mean, you're doing 50 mile an hour down a road like 66 and hammer it, and it just puts them up in smoke.
Yeah, that's just the way it's going.
Kevin, I didn't even know you were in here. This is the guy that does the pinstripe.
Kevin, is that the pinstripe guy?
Destroyer was in here. Destroyer's got like the most hilarious lives ever.
Oh, absolutely.
Holy cow.
Oh, yeah. If you ever need a laugh, I really needed a laugh one day, and I watched Destroyers live. I felt so much better afterwards because it just made me laugh. You
You know
know,
what?
just good fun.
For normally, because you know, I don't know how to put it delicately, but I have a few extra pounds. So when he checks out these hot chicks on the TV on Destroyers, you know, I'm like, hey, what's up? But actually, I watch them with him, and I don't feel that way about Destroyers' lives. Like I sit there, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is funny.
Because it is.
funny. It is.
It's funny. You can't
is.
not laugh at it. So for me
You
to
have
not
to, yeah.
be like, what? You know?
Yeah. How's my Camaro doing?
Talking to me?
No, I was talking to Jeff.
What's that?
So my uncle Jeff has a Camaro that I've seen it in pictures, but for some reason when he was showing it to me the other day online, I was like, I gotta have that. What do you want? And he won't give you a damn price, but he wants to sell
He's
it.
afraid you'll buy it.
Yeah.
I've had a few things I was afraid to price before, but then so here's my thing: is I price stuff I like high.
Oh yeah.
Either you buy it or you don't. I don't care either way. And then sometimes the guy's like, "Yeah, okay," and you're like, "Crap."
Could have gone higher.
Yeah, could have gone higher. Should have gone higher. I've said that a few times, and yeah, it is what it is. It's part of the game. If you're willing to play, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you lose the car. Sometimes you lose the money. But
we're looking at trying to find a car and to do on the channel like on a budget. You know, like 3 guys buying a car together. It'd start like in the late fall, and it doesn't have to be a Chevelle or a Camaro or a Challenger because those are high priced. Something oddball, you know.
yeah,
And we found the perfect car, and the deal fell through. The guy decided not to sell. It was a '75 Laguna S3.
I love those cars.
So do I. And it was the greatest price, decently solid. And it's like, okay, if we get it for this and we can do this. And that's why it was like, I'm going to build the EZ302. We would chuck that in there and just add it all up. Be like, hey, you and your buddies can build a car like this and have a whole lot of fun with it. But man, that's the Hawaiian Tropic car from Cannonball Run.
Yeah.
Same color. I'm like, no, come on.
Those are great cars. And they were really overlooked for years. It's just like the Grand Ams, the early or Can-Am.
I love the Can-Am.
I can't see. Is that the inside of that car or that Trans Am?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Tan and black.
I love the Can-Am, and I also like when the GTO went to the Nova body style.
I like the actual GTO of that, but not they made one that wasn't. That was just the Ventura or whatever.
The GTO with the hood scoop.
Yeah, it's got to have the scoop, and it's it's got to have the scoop and the fender scoop, louvers and all that. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That's a cool car. If that would be, I know there's a lot of purists with the GTOs that are like, no, that's like the bastard child of it. You know, no, that is like, it took something that was not the coolest thing and made it cool in an era where you really couldn't be cool. And such a cool car.
They don't, it's basically a Nova.
Yeah.
Basically. So it had some of the same issues the Novas had. They don't steer well and stuff like that, but you can make them really, really good. But they had the looks. They did have the looks.
Same with the Buick Apollo that era.
Yeah, I like the Apollo.
Yep.
You don't really see those very often.
No.
Most of them just got crushed.
Or destroyed in a demolition derby.
And that's also true. That's a lot of cars have died in a derby.
Well, I mean, how old are you?
44.
Okay, so you growing up, like me growing up, monster trucks were the most kick-ass thing, right?
Yep.
And I remember buying my son some videos from the 80s to watch, and I'm going, wait, that's a GTX. Oh wait, that's a Camaro. Now I can't watch them anymore.
You can't do that.
No, it's like no, they just destroyed all that. But it's But yeah, one of those GTOs would be a whole lot of fun. Or the Can-Am. I mean, cool. The Can-Am is such a absolutely cool car. It's the Malaise era, but man, such a cool car.
Yeah, well, for me, I don't care if anything's stock, so I'm not a purist. A Ranger. How much they want for it?
I've been looking at this.
Oh, is it the Bronco?
Yeah, it's a Bronco. I've been looking
I
at it.
looked at 5 Blazers today, 5 Blazers, and I couldn't buy a single one. Offered money on 3 of them, and they wouldn't sell me any of them. I was so upset. So upset.
They wouldn't want $1,000 for it.
Oh, I offered a lot for one of theirs, and I was like, "I give you $5,000 right now." They were telling me what they paid for it 2 days ago. I was like, "I give you $5,000 right now." No, we kind of like it, and I was like, "Well, I do too. Would you rather have the money or the car?"
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they call me back because it's like it's the '90s Blazer, but it's the full size. It's actually the GMC version of it. I think it was the Yukon at that point. That's what they were calling it. Might have been the Jimmy still. I don't know. But the interior was so good. So good. The paint was in good shape. I mean, it ran and drove. They said the only thing they put a set of wheels and tires on it, and that's all they'd done to it other than they put a cowl induction hood on it that they already had. But it hadn't been painted yet. I was like, I need this thing. They wouldn't sell it to me. And then they had a K5. I tried to buy it too. It was not nice, but I still tried to buy it. And then they had another 90s Jimmy around, or actual Blazer around the side of the building that I tried to buy. And they had 2 more that was rough, but I was trying to buy the roughest one. They wouldn't sell it to me. So I hate that.
See, I would never do this because it would be super expensive, but it would be cool to find like a Cyclone or a Typhoon with no engine, nothing. And then take that thought of the single turbo 4.3 and make it, a 5.7 350 twin turbo, but make it look bone stock.
Yeah.
That would be
cool.
Right.
I mean, that was a lot of that was a thought beyond its years.
Yes.
I mean, it really was, and I don't know. It was awesome. I remember the first time I saw the Cyclone, I lost my mind. I was a kid still, so it was like, that is the coolest thing ever, and just all the, just all of it. It's the package itself was awesome.
I had a friend that had one, and it was so fast. He didn't know how to really drive it, but man, that thing pulled so hard, and it's fighting itself. I mean, it's just.
I didn't even know those things existed till about 5 years ago.
Oh,
really?
They were so cool.
Yeah, I'm not a big Chevy guy. First off, I'm not a big Chevy guy.
But they made a huge name in the world of automobiles when they came out.
Yeah, never heard of them. Period. Not till a little while, like 5 years ago.
They were just
right. Never watched
fast.
Chips. They destroyed way too many nice cars.
All those shows back then,
Yeah.
Who was it that? Garage Rescue, is that the one? Garage Squad. That was the first one that I ever seen.
I've never seen that show.
Shit, that's cool. You remember that?
No,
I
don't do a whole lot of TV.
Yeah, that
never
wasn't
really never really have.
I tuned out of TV a while ago because it was just like YouTube came into my life, and it was like, fuck TV.
Right.
I got rid of cable a long time ago. I just stream from it now.
Oh yeah.
My mother has Dish Network, I think, and I have her account on our TV, so we get to watch some shows. But we watch very few actual shows. Everything else is YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because like my wife will watch a couple shows that she like DVRs or whatever, but never anything like live. My son, he watches a lot of YouTube. My daughter really doesn't watch a whole lot of anything, and then I pretty much just watch YouTube. But the nice thing about YouTube in the car world, it's real people.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, on a real budget, working with real shit in a garage or with their friends. They're not going through and like shutting the cameras off and 500 people coming in behind them,
Man, if I could only get 2 more people to come in behind me with the camera off, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
I'd do good to get one guy to show up, and he's just going to stand there and be in the way. So,
well, I've got a couple of good, reliable friends, but like the guy I'm on the channel with, we live 30 miles apart, and he's got kids much younger than me, and trying to get schedules to align. This last winter we had a lot of ice and snow, so it's kind of like you schedule a wrench night, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then with gas prices, you're like, okay, we're going to do 2 wrench nights into one. What time do I have to work in the morning? Oh yeah, 7. So we'll get home at 2 or 3.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, Ma, I was just talking about your Dish Network sign in. Calm down.
Yeah, I used to have a lot of guys I wrenched with, and we've all got kids. None of us live near each other anymore, and life changes you. So now I work alone a lot, and I use my YouTube channel as somebody to talk to. Sometimes I need to talk it out.
Yes.
Like if I got a problem, I need to talk it out. So I just talk to the camera until I figure it out.
I'm going to start putting the camera going the opposite way that has a huge view. So when I'm talking to the camera, I'm in the shop, people walking by aren't like, what the hell is this from? That's what happens all the time.
And that's kind of the nice thing is like, I decided to get into YouTube because of a race, and I absolutely love it. But there's all these other people doing these different builds and can give you advice, call them up, being like, oh, wait, you did this before? Like, am I just stupid? And yes, They usually say I am. But at the same time, it's like you can't call one of those guys on TV. Hell, you couldn't even email them and get an answer.
Right, exactly. Well, I mean, you could, but they'd never see it. So, yeah,
right.
You'd never get a response. So, and there's a lot of actually really intelligent guys that, know their stuff. And I'm not one of them, but yeah, there's plenty of them. So,
yeah.
I just hack my way through it. Have you seen my latest intro? It's great.
No,
hey, Liberty,
on yourself.
Mr. Forsaken Steel, he only uses his phone.
Yeah, that's it.
Me too.
Me too.
Yep. I tried.
Someday I may do something else, but not for a while.
This is barely a year old. This is the S21 Ultra, right? This is the big bad Mamma Jamma. So I went from a Note 10 Plus to this, started doing my YouTubes again, and I had to buy a computer because that has not enough space to do crap. I edited like 3 videos on the phone, and that was it.
I'm going to be running into that same problem. And I do everything on my phone, right? And because normally I get done wrenching, I'll be in the garage or my buddy's just sitting there editing a video. I have a work laptop, but I can't do anything on that. I'd get fired.
Right.
So like, I don't have I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a laptop, but that takes money away from a car. Then I got to get good editing software. That takes money away from a car, but I'm going to have to do it sooner than later. So
what I like is I can do it anywhere.
Yes.
And a lot of times I've edited videos in doctor's offices and just random wherever I was sitting just because I could. And also the app that I use, I do pay for it. It's not free. But it is so easy to use.
Yep.
And I tried to use their online version. It's 3 times as hard to use. I was like, I'll just use it on my phone. It's just easier.
Yeah.
So, and you don't have that transfer, between your recording device and your computer issues where sometimes you lose files and stuff like that. None of that. So it's
all right there.
Pretty good.
I use Splice. It's like $2 a month.
What is it?
Mine is Power Director, and I've done really well with it.
It's called Splice. Power Director? Okay.
Power Director. And I buy mine like a year at a time because that's the cheapest way. And when I first bought it, I bought 3 months. I think you can do a 3-month trial or whatever. I did a 3-month trial. It was like $5 or $6. It wasn't much. And then once that was up, I was like, well, I think I'm going to continue to do YouTube for a while. So I just went ahead and did the year.
Yeah.
And it's still really inexpensive. So, but they put a watermark on you otherwise, and I didn't want that. So
yeah, I use Filmora is mine.
So I've heard a lot of people using that, and I know
what is it called?
Filmora.
So once I get my laptop, I'm gonna get a GoPro. But my son's into drones, so I'm gonna give him a drone. So like when we're doing burnouts and breaking every law known to man, we can broadcast it on YouTube over the drone. And you know what I'm saying, like that type of fun stuff. But man,
I wish I knew somebody that had a drone that could do some recording for me when I get my car done, just so I could have some rolling shots.
Yes, that's what we're going to be doing. Rolling burnouts.
Yeah,
edit it. We're going to edit it.
So cool.
It's a rolling burnout plus the GoPro mounted to it, and yep.
I bought this. This is my secondary camera. I bought this used a couple months back. This is what I'll do secondary shots on. I like it when I do the will it runs That way I can put this to where the tailpipe is and see how much shit comes out of it and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Just a secondary thing. But I use a GoPro 8 Black. I love that camera. Like the volume on it, it picks up a penny drop from a mile away kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And the only thing that I don't like about it is that the screen, it's charging right now. It's actually uploading. But the screens, if you break them, you break them. There's no replacing them. So I put the screen protectors on them. But all I do at the end of the night when I'm done in the shop is I come in, I plug it in, and it uploads to the cloud. So I don't have to worry about missing footage. I just have to find it.
So how long can you record without it turning off?
I can go until it's dead, or you can plug it in.
How long is that though? I mean, is that 2 hours?
Probably an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most. Maybe an hour and a half. Yeah. But batteries charge really quick. You like where you're right next to an outlet 90% of the time. You can just plug it in, and it'll go for as long as you have a memory card.
Yeah.
But I really like the 8. Everybody has their preferences. And even this what is this one, a 3 plus? This one's actually really good for quality too. I was very surprised in the GoPro.
Like what I want to do, and it's also for testing. Like I want to put one in the rear chassis area.
Yeah.
It's a cool video, but you can see what's going on because I got everything's tubular adjustable. But I want to put one because I'm running a ton around the big velocity stacks. I want to put one in there when it's, make a mount, put it in there, and just watch those butterflies just dump fuel. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, it looked really cool.
Be a cool shot. Yeah. I don't know. I have a couple of GoPros. I actually, but I just before I wanted to do this a long time ago. A long time ago, 2 years ago, and I recorded some stuff on a GoPro. I never could get it right. Yeah. So when I started recording my phone, it was so much easier. I was like, "This is it. This is the way to go."
It is. It is so easy because, let's say you're going to throw a short out there, and you're somewhere, and you're like, "Oh, this would be funny or cool."
Yeah.
You're just right there.
Yeah. Hey, Zaysa.
Hey.
I don't know. I really do. I like recording now. My phone is over 2 years old, and it needs to be replaced. And my wife tells me daily to go get a phone. And someday I will. And then this will become my secondary recording device. And if it just gets destroyed, it's fine.
You need to, before you go and do your
I know.
You have to. Because what happens if you bust your phone while you're out there and you miss all that footage?
Oh, I'll just go get a phone. I mean, if I break it, I'll just go get one. There's always a Best Buy around.
Yeah.
But
hey, I wanted to do a quick thing on. I haven't actually put these up online really. But
with the tractor stickers?
Yes.
I saw was that on your community post?
Dude, those things turned out.
Oh, they're so pimp.
And that looks exactly like my tractor.
Yes.
That's even better.
Isn't it?
I mean, I thought it was taken from a picture of your tractor. I mean, it has to be, right? I mean, the wheels don't match.
It's cartoonized.
I understand that, but she had to have started with your tractor.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so good.
I sent her a couple pictures, and then she just does her thing.
Yeah.
This is Cletus's wife. She has a little side business she does. And
so I'm wanting to get some made that are holographic. But I don't know where I can get those.
Sticker Mule.
Sticker Mule? I mean,
they're pricey. They're pricey. That's who I would end up going with. But the only problem is that initially, you'll get oh, hey, you can get a deal here and there once you buy them. But yeah, they're kind of pricey.
So for Power Tour, I intend to put stickers for people to take on the car, in the louvers or whatever of the car, so people just take them. But I think a holographic sticker really stands out in the sunlight, so people will be more likely to pick them up, And I'm sure I'll have to write free and put an arrow on them, and and then one kid will come by and get all of them probably, but whatever. I don't care.
Yeah. I got a couple other ideas. I still gotta have her do the F-350, and I don't know if I'm gonna do Mom's. Maybe I should just for the. I'll do the crashed up one, and I'll do the one that I bought her. Remember how I told you the struts never came in, but the
other parts did, yeah.
Well, I messaged and complained to the eBay seller, and all of a sudden, out of the nowhere, the box shows up today. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got burned on eBay recently. Motor mounts for the engine and car combo, I have come to find out the driver's side is almost impossible to find. Everywhere's back order. You can find a million on the other side. Found a guy on eBay. I'm like, do you have these in stock? And he's just like, I sure do. And I'm like, we sell them as a package, the motor mount, both motor mounts and the transmission mount. Can you just sell me, what I need? He's like, no, you got to buy the whole thing. And I'm like, whatever. So I bought it. I get it in, and everything's wrong. And I contacted him and I said, I'll send these back. Just, send me the right ones. And he goes, well, we don't have those in stock. I'm like, you had them in stock when I ordered them. I even talked to you, and the guy's just like, well, they should work for your application. I'm like, but they don't. It's not even for the same car,
Yeah.
Not
I
even
got burnt
close.
on some brakes one time. It's been about 2 years ago. And I ordered a whole set of brakes, and they shipped a whole set of brakes for a car I didn't own. It wasn't even similar.
That same way. And so I was trying to work it out, and I don't like leaving any negative feedback at all. It's just not who I am. And it was just one excuse after another. So finally I had to do that. And the guy got really upset about it. But I'm like, dude, you told me they were in stock. You sent me absolutely the wrong stuff. Then you tell me they were never in stock. It's like, you should have told me they were not in stock.
That's how I feel with Hawks right now. Don't list you have something in stock if you don't.
Yep.
Because otherwise I'd have ordered it from somebody else or ordered a different cam.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sold.
That's a hell of a face going on.
Isn't it nice?
It is.
Where are you?
Where am I?
He's hiding.
I'm sitting in my basement ordering parts because, exactly what we're talking about here.
That's what I need to be doing.
I'm going to be eating dinner here in about 10 minutes.
What are you going to do?
Delicious.
Yeah. It's pizza night.
Nice.
I decided to pull the old 66 out of storage the other night and just take it for a drive and do a once-over on it. And I've owned that car for 2 years and have never really, what you'd call, put it through its paces. Down an old county road at 80 mile an hour, doing corners that are supposed to be done at 30 in a 1966 four-wheel drum Impala.
Yeah, you found your weak point.
Well, when I got home, I smelled something burning, and I was like, not a good smell. It smells like burnt clutch, and I don't have a clutch, so it breaks. So I did the right thing, and I reached into the wheels on the front, and I touched the drums and went, oh, those are warm. And then I reached into the back and touched the drums, and was glad I came back with fingers. And what I found out tonight is the carrier bearings are gonzo on that rear end.
Wow.
So
How bad?
Well, they make the gravelly noises, and I changed the gear lube 1,000 miles ago, so it was perfectly clean and good, and it came out looking like anti-seize. So,
Oh, shit.
It's not good.
yeah.
What rear end is it?
It is a 10-volt factory GM. It's the baby rear end for 66.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
But that car just turned over 21,000 original miles. So
Really?
the problem with letting your car sit for decades on end is the top of your carrier bearings never see oil.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll rust, I guess.
Yep. That's all I can come up with because I'm like, there's no reason for these things to be bad. But then when I tore them out and spun them, you can see where half of them are flat spotting. It's like,
man.
oh, that's nice. So the lesson here is, everybody, if you think you can just pull a car out of a barn after 25 years and just throw some oil in it and drive it, there's probably other things you need to look at.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, yeah. I mean, the car behind me sat for 15 years. Doesn't sound like a long time, but that's a long time in car years.
Yeah.
You know, even if they're dry, it doesn't matter. They're machines. They're meant to be driven.
Yep.
That's what it comes down to.
I think it would be easier to take a car from 1975, let's just say, let it sit for 25 years, get it going, versus cars made today wait 25 years and try to get them going.
I mean, the biggest issue with this car behind me was electrical stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I chased I still have electrical issues. I chased more electrical issues than I did anything else.
Well, that's why you just throw all that away and put a carbureted motor in there.
I just can't do it.
I've been telling
So now we're going late model fuel injection. Was the opposite. Just bring it into the 21st century. Just get there. Let's just do this.
There you go, dudes. Get in your truck and get out there and help with that one.
There was a Charger I went and looked at that I would have really liked to gotten. It was way off on price, and I knew it had some electrical problems. And when I say electrical problems, it looked like a beaver was chewing on it. Like even the heavy cables were missing giant sections. It's like, what was chewing on this? It wasn't a mouse. This thing it was really, really bad. Like really bad.
I also pulled out about a 13-gallon trash bag worth of mouse house out of this car.
Oh yeah.
Makes sense.
So that's what happens in a barn. So
Jeff, you said you would rather take an old ass car and bring it back to life than a new car.
Yes.
I think it was my first video back into YouTube last year in August. I brought my buddy's that's a 2010 Honda Elantra out of storage where it's been sitting for 2 years roughly in a fairly dry area. No crap was getting on it as far as weather, and I personally backed it into the spot and shut it off. The alternator was frozen. The clutch master cylinder wasn't working correctly. Brakes were seized. Now, once again, this is in a concreted, dry area. So what the hell does that tell you?
Yeah.
Stuff's definitely not made like it used to be anyway. So,
but the battery held the charge. Can you believe
2
that?
years. Wow. I can't get one to hold the charge for 5 minutes.
No, it was deader than a doornail. And I jumped it and I let it run down there, down in that basement area for a couple minutes. Got it out of there, brought it over here, shut it off, and I had a charge. I was like, what?
Oh, wow.
Like, I got brand new batteries that don't last 6 months, but this one's been sitting completely discharged for all that time.
It's crazy. I've bought more batteries this year than I've bought in I don't know how long.
Yeah,
I own a rough year for batteries.
I own like 10 of them right now. I'm scared.
This is the goal that everybody should have. I've bought the same top side post battery for the past 3 years. I buy the same one every time. It's a big battery, 800 cold cranking amps. It does the job no matter what. They got a good warranty on them. I buy them at a hardware store. And I have tried to retrofit every vehicle I have to fit that same battery no matter what. So as long as I have 3 of them around, I can put them in 14 different cars.
It's true.
Yeah, I do like that.
I do keep one battery on hand, top post, charged, because something's always going to be dead.
Yeah.
And all that. And I always keep
Have a good night, Liberty.
I pull all my batteries at the end of the season, and I have a rack. I put them on my trickle charge them all winter. And, yeah, it's time to start pulling cars back out again. It's like, do you really want, which battery goes to what? Yeah, let's figure this out again. No, they're all the same. So it's just the same battery 5 times.
Well, my dad, he's got a 68 Dodge, and he went to pull his car out, and click, 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 and he's like, what is going on here? And I'm like, well, one, you left the dome light on, right? So jumped the battery, and I noticed the gauge, alternator gauge is all over the place. I'm like, what in the world? It was like, check it, it's like 8, 9, 10, 12, 8, 9, it's just all over. I'm like, Dad, you got a bad alternator. And he's like, oh, it can't be. I just replaced it, 25 years ago. It's like, yeah, you got a bad alternator. So I took it out and just ran the absolute crap out of it like I do every spring. And parked it, and he went to leave. 20 minutes later, it was dead. This alternator, I don't know. Obviously, it was old too, but the little brushes in the back, everything was just destroyed. It's like it was perfectly fine when he parked the car. Maybe not, but it wasn't making any noise and it was
Good night,
working.
Bryce.
Whatever happened to it just absolutely trashed it. But I mean, common item, so.
I will say this: if you let your battery slide off its tray and hit the alternator and cut a hole in the side of the battery, and some acid may or may not get into some things, that
Yeah.
will screw an alternator up. I figured
Yeah.
that out long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I
So
was with my uncle one time, and we had a battery explode while trying to drive across the highway, and it sounded like someone had set some sort of explosive off underneath the hood, and it was like an '88 Caprice station wagon, and battery acid over every square inch of the under the hood. It was so bad. I'd
I had
never seen one explode before until
That's
I was a
crazy.
kid.
so when I worked at the dealership, we had the truck section. That's a section I'd walk in when I come in the morning. You got truck section, you got used cars and Fords and the Toyota. So this shop is huge. It was Memorial weekend, I think. We all left on Friday. Come back on Tuesday, long because it's a 4-day weekend or 3-day weekend. Sorry. And every door in the shop is already open, and everybody's standing outside. And we're like, well, what's going on? Oh, we got to stay outside for a little bit. One of the truck guys left the battery charger on one of the big rigs.
Oh, boiled it.
Time and exploded. No reason that shop didn't go up. Like it stunk for months of just rotten ass for months.
I had a friend that had a pretty nice Chevelle, and I mean, not a speck of rust. Body was straight, and it was pretty much street strip car, and the battery was mounted in the trunk, right? And he was changing stuff out, got a new battery, but he had the battery in the trunk just sitting there, and he hooked up stuff. He was testing some other shit, right? And he just got harebrained and said, well, he's going to go for a ride or whatever. Totally didn't even think about it. So he's just got a battery sitting in the trunk with 2 posts on it, not tied down, not in the box or nothing. Takes off, does whatever, and gets all over it. And all of a sudden, everything cut out, heard a big loud bang, and that side, the quarter panel was just all dented out, and he couldn't figure out what was going on. Popped the trunk, and there was that battery completely laid over into that side. It's like, you dumbass.
You'll have that.
Just got in a hurry.
Come on, dude, you can top these.
Oh,
But hey,
no.
I'm gonna stay listening. I'm gonna go eat dinner with my son real quick.
Okay.
So pizza, I'm gonna stay listening to this. I appreciate the invite, and I'll do it again.
If you
Hey, it's
wanted
good
to stay,
talk to you.
we could pause you if you wanted.
Well,
You
I'm gonna
gotta
go eat
take
and
off.
talk with him about his school day and all that. But I'm
Okay,
gonna
cool.
keep it up. I'm gonna put it on my TV. So
All right, man. I appreciate you coming in.
sweet. Thank you guys.
Thank
See
you.
man.
Bye.
Bye.
Trying to figure out if my rear end is an 8.2 or an 8.5.
I don't know how you find out in a Chevy.
I don't think you really do. I pulled the numbers off the ring gear, so I'll have to look at
I don't
those.
think you really do.
Well, I don't think visually you can just look at them and know the difference.
I don't think so either. I don't think there's a visible difference.
There's
I'm
no
trying to
tag.
remember. I mean, no, it only had those wouldn't have had a tag.
No. The cover might tell you. I don't know. Because this one's got a very unique cover.
It's been years since I've messed with one of those.
Yeah, these are old.
Yeah.
Old. I'll tell you what. So my Chevelle has the same rear end. And I've never messed with ones from the 60s like this too much.
I'll be right
I've
back, guys.
messed with a ton of 80s 10 bolts, right? So, I mean, everybody has their little, hey, 10 bolts are junk. You can build one. They hold up. I've never had huge issues with them. I mean, they blow up when they blow up. But these older ones, they got small everything in them. And there's a reason they put the 12 bolt into the heavier duty
Yep.
stuff. But the Chevelle I have has one of these old 10 bolts in it that's been narrowed. And somebody put 456 gears in it. And then they put 513 gears or something in it. I mean, it's a full custom Richardson set. And this rear end had pieces embedded in the cover from the ring gear at some point in time, but that wasn't the ring gear that was in it. So it's like, this thing's been exploded, and the
they just put
actual
it back together.
yeah, they just put it back together, and the axle tubes actually, the center section spun on the axle tubes. It actually broke the
That's
welds,
crazy.
and the center section went straight up and caved in the floor and took the drive shaft out. And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, we just tipped it back down and welded her back up." And I'm just like, "What? That's cast. You can't." But that rear end has huge slicks on it. I mean, it's running a 18-inch wide drag slick, and that rear end has never blown up. And I've
Amazing.
jumped on it, and I'm just like, I'm just going to replace it because luck has been on its side long enough. I don't need to figure that one out the hard way.
Yeah. It's sometimes you just know stuff needs to be replaced, and it's better just to do it and get it over with.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's better safe than sorry.
Yeah, that's how I always feel. Because, so I started doing work on this Impala after we started driving it, and I realized when I bought it, all the studs are too short for the aftermarket wheels that are on it. It's one of those lessons of just like, if you're going to put aftermarket wheels that are thicker, you should probably put longer studs on so that your actual lug nut is engaging something more than 4 threads.
Yeah, 4 threads really is, that's death, just waiting to happen at any moment.
Yeah. So when I took the wheels off this to check the brakes, because the brakes were getting hot, I was like, brakes are getting hot. Do I have them set up too tight? Whatever. They weren't. But 2 of the lug nuts came off, and there was no threads left, hardly any on the end of that stud. So I'm like, that's not good. So I went to the parts store, and crazily enough, I asked the parts store, do you have rear brake shoes for these? Because my brake shoes are toast because now they've gotten too hot. Yep, we got brake shoes for 66 Impala. Boom, in the store. I'm like, well, do you have some studs? Yep, we have all the studs for the whole car. I got 20 studs. And I grabbed the old stud that I knocked out to bring with me, and sure enough, the aftermarket, what they'd classify as a factory stud, is about 7 threads longer than the factory stud. So that means the aftermarket knew something that the factory didn't.
Yep. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, the when I did all the work on the Camaro, of course it has different wheels on it, and everything's different, but I put all new studs in it. And now looking back, I wish I'd have spent the money. I didn't have the time, but I wish I'd have spent the money and ordered the ARP wheel studs now. But
yep. So anything that I plan on doing, what would be classified as shenanigans, ARP rear studs all the way.
Yeah, I wish I'd have done it.
I have had a buddy that had a rash of shearing off studs, and I don't ever want to be part of an incident personally where that happens.
Seems like a really bad deal.
Yeah, he had a really nice 59 Impala until the wheel decided to jam itself up into the fender well and do some damages.
Yeah.
And then he also had a really nice 86 Chevy pickup that the wheel came off and ejected out into a field, and he ended up in a ditch attached to a trailer.
Yeah, it's no good. I definitely wish I'd have done it, and I may try to get if time allows, I may do that before I head out on my trip this year.
Yep. Because
if not, well, pray for me. That's all I know if I don't have time.
That was one of the first things because I knew I'd be doing dumb stuff with my 84. I bought the extra long ARP studs and some open lug nuts, and because the idea was if I ever wanted to take it to a strip, they could look in there and go, "Yep, it's legal. It's got got the right studs, got all the right things. If I ever want to put different wheels on it later, it won't be a distance issue." And I already had the rear end apart, putting a spool in it because I'm a very intelligent person.
There's nothing like a spool for turning left and right.
Yeah. So before it went into storage at the end of last year, we may or may not have been doing donuts with it. And spools are really hard on mounts. And I'm pretty sure there's a mount broken somewhere.
Very possible.
I just heard a bunch of stuff shifting around when you get on it afterwards. And I went, well, that's a next year problem.
That's a next year. I got you put it off to the next. It's next season's issue. It's fine.
It's only got to drive home for like an hour.
I drive some junk now. If in every video, I feel like for the past, I don't know, 3 months, I have driven something home that should not be on the road.
I don't ever like doing that.
It's just part of the life I've lived. And my buddy Lee follows me a lot. He takes me out there and I pick him up and drive him home. And he always follows me. And just about every time he goes, "We'll never make it. You make sure you got the strap." Like, thanks, Lee. I appreciate all the confidence that you have in me.
So we may or may not have picked up a 01 Ford Ranger for no good reason, because I make Ranger decisions. And I got another guy trying to sell me an 83 Oldsmobile Cutlass, which I may or may not jump on that. So, more things. I need more things.
Yeah, you needed more vehicles. How many do you think you have? 40 or so? I don't know. I have no idea how many you have.
I don't either.
You don't either. That's the exact number you need.
Yeah.
No one can accuse you for having too many if you don't know how many you have.
Yeah. When I have to think about it really hard, that's when it becomes a problem.
I remember when all mine come up due for tag renewals.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah, I have a bunch of those.
So our state allows you to put them in storage for $30.
Oh,
so
that's not bad.
If you place it in storage for $30 and you want to take it out of storage any point in the year that you put it in, you got to pay the licensing for the whole year from whatever date you wanted to put it in at. So you'll pay double if you're taking it out in the same year. But if you don't license something, it starts doubling and they hit you with all these fines. And then it just blanks itself out at 3 years. So I've hit certain vehicles where it's like, I forgot to license that. There's going to be fines.
Yep.
Year 2, I forgot to license it again. Well, I might as well wait another year to drive it because then all the fines will be released.
Yeah, so and then you're back to re-registering it from scratch.
Exactly. And then if you just put it in storage, it grandfathers it all in, and then if it sits for 3 years, you don't have to pay any of the back fees. So if I have a vehicle that I know is going to sit for more than a year, I just take it, put it in storage, and then I don't have to license it. But I regularly license 11 vehicles every year.
I've done this year alone. I think I've already done 7.
Oh, that's not counting stuff I buy.
No, that's just the cars I did this year. Yeah. I did more this year than because I just have more stuff registered in my name this year.
Yeah. See, I'm really bad about, even if it doesn't make sense, I always register it in my name.
I want them in my name.
Yeah, because I've had issues with that come up in the past.
Me too. So I always pay the money. I get them put in my name.
Yeah, because there's nothing stopping anybody, and this is just PSA for everybody. You can be given a title, and it can be signed, and you can sit on that title for 4 years. All it takes is somebody to go in and say, I need a duplicate title, because it shows up on their re-register list.
Yep.
They title it back in their name, and the title you have is now void. Period.
Yep. I've never had it happen to me, but I've seen it happen. So it's one of those things. Yeah. If I buy a car and it has a title, I immediately go title it in my name. Here we can title them in Tennessee. You can title it in your name and not get it registered with a plate. So even if it's something that I think I'm going to build or whatever, I just title it in my name. I get it in my name, and I know it's mine. So it takes all the guesswork out of it for later. You don't have to worry about stuff.
In the state of Iowa, even if you're buying a roller that you know you're never going to get to for 3 years, you go in and you title it, and you have to pay for 1 year registration right then and there, no matter what the condition of the vehicle. The first time, you always have to pay for a year. They get really weird with you when you're like, I'm going to pay for a year because you're making me. And then I immediately want to put it in storage. And they're like, why? I'm like, well, I don't want any back fees if I get to it in 3 years. And they're like, well, that's weird. Why did you buy something you can't drive? I'm like, that's none of your business.
That's right. What kind of situation is it? You don't need to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our county, I don't know if it's the state, our county has gotten to this thing where there was a lot of people selling cars not titled in their name.
Oh, so
that's against the rules. You can't do that.
Well, it's tax evasion.
Well, true, and then they can't track who's selling
Yeah.
cars and things like that.
Yep.
So what they did, I think it was 2 years ago now, they pretty much said you have to have a certified bill of sale on every vehicle you bring in, title-wise. And if you don't have that, they will not title the vehicle. Period. In the subject, no questions asked. And it's like a lot of times the title is its own bill of sale. All that information is on there.
It's on the back, yeah. Typically.
But they want a separate piece of paper signed by both parties. And if they get it correct, they even said this, we want the other person's phone number, address. And a lot of times that person's like, I don't want to give any of that information to you. So then you get into this little technical thing where you got to talk the DMV person in, and then the DMV person can kind of be a little crappy about it. And they'll straight up tell you at the DMV, the best way to transfer a title is to bring both parties to the DMV and actually sign the title at the DMV. And I'm just like, really?
Yeah, that's a huge headache. I mean,
Yeah,
nobody's going to do
Nobody's
that.
doing that.
Nobody's doing that.
Oh, Bella's got the bag. So, I
Hey,
heard you.
welcome back to your channel, man.
Listen, I don't know what's going on tonight. I'm sorry, okay? First off, Ford fucking Ranger, and second off, yeah, the city sucks with registrations, doesn't it?
At least it does sound like it's better in Tennessee where I'm at than either one of you all have it. So
Yeah, I think I'm allowed six this year.
Six what?
6 vehicles registered, I think.
that's it.
5.
What?
4.
You're
I'm
only
over that
allowed?
now.
What are you talking about
Let
allowed?
me show you what I got today.
So
Turn
I'm
back.
only allowed to register X amount of cars per year.
Why?
That's a good question. For a money grubbing
You're
city,
giving money to them.
I know. They just don't want you to register too many. I don't know why. Probably because they think that you're a business at that point or something. I don't know.
I'm not a business, but I could see where you could construe that incorrectly.
Yeah. So I went and registered the Camaro today, and this is not a custom tag. It just happens to be that is 1986.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Is that
not-
what year that Camaro was? Is 86?
Yeah, 86.
Did you
What's
tell
the
them, I
production
wanna see
date?
the stack, go through there for me.
You're not allowed to ask for tags.
Well, they usually just pull them out of a box, and I've asked
Yeah.
before, and they'll give you like different ones.
So I know a lot of people. Let's just say I know a lot of people. That's what that comes down to. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And they knew I had my tags up for renewal, so it got found. I'm very excited about it.
Dudes, what do you think of this?
I was on the last one when you were talking about that.
Was I? Was it?
Yeah, because I said it was space soda, but I was wrong. That's Tang.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's Tang.
I don't know. We all spend too much time together.
And Tab was the first diet soda.
Yeah, so I didn't catch what that means, but you were being cryptic about it. So,
Wannabe.
oh, that's wannabe.
WENTAB. Wannabe.
You made
There
it
you go.
grammatically correct.
You can throw that one up there.
Ford fucking Ranger. Hold on a second. How do I get to that one?
If I had a Ranger, I would pay for a specialty tag to get some sort of that on the back of it.
Yes.
I truly think that whole comedic song and everything has actually added value to Rangers somehow.
They have.
What is with a Ranger being $5,000 with 250,000 miles on it? I just do not understand this.
Because of that.
Oh, it's
Because they think that they're absolutely indestructible. They're not. They're okay vehicles, you know.
I mean,
they're
they're
good
fine.
cars.
Little baby Ranger back there.
Yeah.
four-door Impala.
Yep.
What's
This
up
is
with
one
the
of-
OPS here?
This is one of those bad movies, where all these guys are hanging out around this sexy lady. We all know how this ends, and it's not pretty.
Oh no.
I really like that four-door 66. I don't know. I got a thing for four doors though. A lot of people don't, but I sure do.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're probably one of the only.
I do. I just like them.
What do you want to know about the old OBS Ford? Yep, there she is. I pulled the whole carrier out. She's got the bad carrier bearings, so I just got to get some ordered and get those ones pulled and press some new ones on. I'm gonna change the pinion bearing twos, I think.
I mean, while you're in it, now's the time.
Yeah, might as well. And then I'm gonna change the axle bearings, put some new seals in it, and then
That was my next question. You gonna pull the axle bearings out?
Yep, I'm doing axle bearings, seals. I'll do all new drum shoes again, new studs, put it all back together, and she'll be brand new. So
yeah. I mean, the time is now. You have the grease out of it, and you have it apart.
well, and that's the thing. So like you can do all of that for less than $150.
Right.
So,
yeah.
why not? It just doesn't make sense not to do it.
Like the hardest part for me is making the decision to crack the diff open.
Well, and see, I had that diff open 1,000 miles ago just to change the fluid because I like to know that I've changed the fluid at least once in a vehicle when I get it. So every vehicle I get, I'll change all the diff fluids, even if somebody's like, I already did that. And I'll be like, but did you? Because that's important.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things that everybody just neglects because they're just like, it's probably been changed, right? Yeah, no.
I have to agree. That's one of those things that I don't feel good about it until I've seen the inside of a rear end either. I need to see the gears. I need to see that there's nothing in there that I need to know about.
Well, perfect example. I bought an 82 third gen parts car, and I bought it for the rear end because the guy's like, oh yeah, the transmission's got a problem, but everything else is fine. So I didn't want to rebuild my rear end in my car, so I just bought a whole car. I was going to pull the rear end and just throw it underneath my car to get it on the road and do some crazy stuff to my rear end and swap them later. So I bought that car. I pulled the cover. And when I pulled the cover, the carrier was actually milled by the pinion. I've never seen such a thing. And there was actually pinion marks in the center of the carrier.
So I have seen this before.
Yeah.
I don't know how that even happens, but I have seen that.
I saw that and went, I can't even pull the bolt to pull the center pin because the bolt was gnarled and I couldn't even get a wrench on it. And I'm like, well, I guess this one's junk. like I know I can get it apart and get the carrier out and just replace the carrier and do pinion bearings and etc. But at that point I was like, I'm just going to rebuild mine because this is just a housing at this point. So
yeah, I mean, I've seen one of those that's like that where like there's marks on the carrier, and I don't know how that even comes to happen, like the situation that happened in. But
well, here's the best part: that guy was driving that car.
Really?
Yeah, and he's like, I never heard any noises. I'm like, well, I don't know how you didn't, because it was chewing the carrier.
Got a really good stereo in it.
He did, actually, he did, but well, it didn't help that he was also sitting on a 2x4 that was jumping across the rust hole in the floor, and yeah,
couldn't hear it over the road noise.
Exactly.
So you guys got to once I actually get videos up for this Focus, you're gonna wonder why the hell I bought this thing.
I saw that. So what are you welding with? I don't want to be an asshole here, but I'm just gonna be an asshole here.
So some of the welds I understand are garbage. I know that.
Well, I didn't say that, but it's good that you did.
No, I know. I am not perfect at it. But I'm
just wondering, are you using like a battery with two sticks and you're just
You must be talking about the top piece, right?
You literally made a video where you're like, see where I burned all the way through, all the way across here, and none of these tacks are even attached to anything? And it's just like, man.
He sent me that photo. That's exactly what I asked him. I was like, what are you welding with?
So I know that part sucks, but that metal is so freaking thin there.
Oh yeah. All body metal is total trash. And if it's rusty at all, it blows right through.
Yeah, it's bad. So I gave up on welding anything in the top, but the sides, the sides are welded like a mother. They're good.
Well, I mean, this is how you got to look at it. It's definitely better than what it was.
That's exactly right. It's definitely better than what it was. I'm pretty sure if it had been me, I'd have panel bonded that center part together and welded the sides.
So I had a guy, my Jeff the Jeep, my little XJ or whatever the heck it is. That thing is held together 100% with liquid nails.
Oh.
And it works. Like, I can't complain too much. I'm like, really? You just liquid nailed everything? He's like, oh yeah, it's good.
It says it's good for steel. I'm right there on the container.
And he would, like, once a year, he would liquid nail the rocker panel to look like a rocker panel again. And then he would duct tape
That's
over
commitment.
it, and then he would paint it, and then he would stick the plastic piece back on.
That's awesome.
Yeah. When I got it, I kind of beat it around a little bit and jumped it a little bit and ran it over some stuff, and a lot of that got ripped off. And I'm like, he wasn't lying about the amount of liquid nail that was on this thing.
So what's on there now? Nothing?
Air.
It's ventilated.
Yeah.
But okay, so dudes, have you seen other videos besides that one?
I watched like 3 of them.
Okay.
So
So
when
besides,
you put the bumper back on, or you're like, look, I put this on and I welded it here instead of bolting it, and
yeah, bolting it was not gonna happen.
it's just a pain in the ass.
Dude, I'm so over that rear end of that thing. I know that my welds aren't perfect, but I don't think they're going anywhere.
The best for me, I've watched the progression of Grady working on it. I don't want to work on this, whatever, but I'm going to do it too. I hate this damn car. I wish it would just burn to the ground. Basically, in the span of a week, it's been great.
The way you were welding it might have.
It is near the gas tank.
So you haven't answered the question. So what is your welding machine?
Oh, that's handyman Lincoln.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's one of the small Lincolns, isn't it?
What size?
It's just a 110.
110. I mean, I'm not blaming you for being a bad welder. I'm just questioning, is that a very good welding machine? I mean,
Are you running gas with it?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious.
If it was flux, that would be, yeah.
Well, it looks clean to be flux. That's why I was just curious what. So I have witnessed people try to weld with outgas or flux core wire.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And it turns out bad.
I actually bought the welder that's sitting in my garage because the guy didn't understand you got to switch the polarities to run flux. So he put flux in it and tried to weld, and he's like, this thing's supposed to run flux, and it's junk, and the stinger was all melted and screwed up. I'm like, wow, you really did a number on this. And I popped open the side cover, and I looked right at the little diagram. I'm like, well, you got it wired wrong. So there's that.
So I'm not a great welder. What you see is about as best as you get out of me. You know, noise.
I am not. Well, so okay. I'm not a bad welder, but I'm not going to call myself a great welder. And I'll use the metaphor I use for everybody that I've ever taught to weld, because you should definitely listen to me. Wink, wink. Welding is like playing the guitar. You can play the guitar. Everybody can do it if they practice long enough, but you're not going to be Jimi Hendrix. So that's the best metaphor I can have for welding. If you do it all the time, you can be okay at it and you can play a song. But if you're not amazing at it, you never will be.
Were they all painful to wash? Oh, the shorts probably.
The one of the things I found was with welding is the more you do, the better you get.
Yep.
And you can't be afraid to strike the first arc. It's going to be bad. You just know it's going to be bad before you ever start, and just go from there.
Well, and I've had a lot of people sit here and tell me, like, look how well I welded this. And it's like, yeah, that's 1/4-inch plate steel, and you can just let it send. Just let that thing eat, and it'll be fine. You go show me how to weld together 2 pieces of semi-rusty 22 gauge, and we'll talk.
Let's talk then. Yeah, I'm with you.
I know my shit'll hold. That's all I cared about.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You're not going to see it.
You're probably welding the worst kind of steel you could weld right there.
Oh, probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
absolutely.
Yeah, it just comes down to nothing looked like it was a good ground back there. I mean, it was all rusty. So
yeah. I'm terrified to think if somebody would have gotten hit in the rear of that thing.
Now, here's the best question. When you were welding on it, did you have the battery disconnected on the car?
Of course I did.
Okay.
I thought about it the whole time. I honestly did. I thought about it the whole time. I know these things. That has to count for something.
Well, that's good, because I know a lot of guys. I've never personally had a problem with it. I always unhook the battery. But I have had some people that are like, yeah, I don't know what happened. I was welding on my truck, and then, like, the fuel pump stopped working. And, it's just like, well, there you go.
I've heard of it, too. I've never had any major problems. But, this will be the car that I do have problems with.
Of course, because you don't want to work on it.
Yeah.
Because that's the way life goes.
The lady that I got this car from,
you bought this for somebody, right?
Bought this for Mom.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And you're fixing it. And are you regretting your life decisions at this point?
I got to tell you that I've bought so many cars for my mother and fixed them up and given it to her. I regret a lot of them.
So
I
have a good buddy of mine that makes poor life decisions. And we're talking financial poor life decisions. But he clued me into something that was absolutely genius once you're in the hole as far as he is. So he would go buy a car. And then he would go do, it was like a buy here, pay here thing. And he'd get a decent-ish car. And then he'd just stop paying for it. And let them repossess it. But before they would repossess it, he would just give it to his mom. And they wouldn't know where it was. So she would get away driving a car for like 3-4 years. He would never make a payment on it. And then when it broke something major, he would get it back over to his house, call the finance company and be like, well, you can come get it.
That's terrible.
And I'm like, how do you register it? He's like, I would just register it in my name and let her drive it. And it's like, oh, like, what about insurance? He's like, you don't have to be the registered owner to insure it in your name. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'm just like, God, you know all the tricks.
So that green Focus that got totaled, Brittany and I bought that 2 years ago, and we paid $600. The thing was great. It had similar issues in the rear.
So it had character.
It had character. But back then, my thought process was sheet metal, screws, done.
I've done that.
Yeah, if you would have got hit in the rear of that thing, it probably would have killed you too. But that was besides that car was awesome.
So my buddy's looking for a car for his son. So the other day we went and looked at first off, they sent a picture of this car and they're like, hey, this car's for $1,500. That's a good cheap starter car, gets good mileage. And the guy's like, hey, it's a 2008 Malibu. And I looked over at the picture. I said, that's a 2008 Aveo. So the owner didn't even know. Yeah, the owner didn't even know the car they were selling, if that tells you anything. And the pictures, I'm looking at like this far away picture of it in the thing, and I'm like, well, both bumpers have been obviously taken off. The gaps are horrible. The door's been foo-barred. There's Bondo in the quarter panels. You can see it in the poor picture. I was like, man, this thing's kind of shoddy. Maybe offer him $800. If it runs and drives, great. So we go and we meet at the Walmart, and he had me come over and look at it, and I didn't even get out of the truck. As it pulled up, I'm like, nope. Had no exhaust. The front tires were brand new, but the back tires literally had cords sticking out of them. And that was the big thing. It's like, it's got to have tires on it, or you're going to spend the same amount of money on tires as you do on the car at a certain point. Yeah. So I said, well, the tires are no good. And the guy's first words were, we put new tires on the front. And I'm like, okay. And this is always a thing that dictates me how well somebody has maintained a vehicle. Tires will kill you. Yep. They're very important. So when somebody's rolling around there's cords sticking out of that, and you chose not to replace them, but still chose to replace other tires that were probably worse, that says so many volumes about the rest of the car.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I've been down this road a million times. Bought so many cars that the tires were awful. Yeah. But that I know if the tires are bad, all of it's always bad. So exactly. I have to buy it accordingly.
because all these bad tires ruin other components by being bad.
Yep.
On top of the fact that no one's obviously maintaining this, and they're
Yep.
willing to drive it with death tires on it. They're obviously willing to drive it when it's on fire. So it doesn't make sense. So when we looked the car over once, we realized very quickly the entire roof was Bondo, front to back. And once I started staring at it real close and I started staring at the dent in the door and some other Bondo, I'm like, this has been on its roof. And that explains why the bumpers have been stuck back on, because I'm pretty sure they got ripped off in the rolling incident that it occurred.
Wow.
And we asked the lady, is it been wrecked? No. I'm like, well, the roof says you're a liar.
Yeah, people will lie straight to you when it comes to selling something. They don't care.
Shop Cat, that's awesome. So anybody that watched the first video of this Focus, when Brittany got pulled over, we all remember that, right? How she said it was so hard to control that vehicle.
It was trying to kill me.
So far, I've replaced the power steering pump. It was gone. It did not work. The lower control arm on the passenger side, the ball joint was done. Like, I have no idea. I just drove it around the block to get into the shop, and I was kind of nervous driving it.
I've actually seen two Ford Focuses shear the lower control arm in half.
It's a wicked common thing.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, it isn't. And then after I replaced that ball joint, and I'm getting the air out of the lines for the power steering, I keep hearing this ka-dunk, ka-dunk. Well, what the hell? So I go on the passenger side, I look, and the sway bar link is actually hitting every time it turns. So I step back and I look, and that strut has got this nice curve to it. So this thing's been in an accident. Oh yeah. So I'm like, okay, now we need struts. I have no idea. This lady that we got it from was driving this thing daily with her 3 kids.
Here's the next question. Is your strut doing that because the strut tower is rusted and shifted?
It might have. It might have. I haven't taken it apart.
Yeah, because I've seen that too.
Yeah.
I know that Focuses have an issue with the lower control arms because I've seen those completely snap off.
Snap in half.
And the struts have been an issue too.
So I've worked on many Focuses. I've never wanted to own one. I always refer to them, small children, hold your ears, Focuses. They're a Ford Focus.
Yep.
That's pretty accurate.
But they're bulletproof vehicles. Like, seriously, I've seen those things go for thousands. Really? You don't think so?
I don't think so, because when they break things, it's catastrophic. They might run for a lot of miles, but like, they're a constant maintenance vehicle.
I don't think so. I have to disagree on that.
All right.
I put them in the same category as a Ranger. No, right?
Rangers, I think, are very durable vehicles. As much as I don't like to say that out loud, I would actually take a Ranger over an S10.
Oh, hell yeah. That's without a doubt, hands down.
Yeah.
I've ran them both a lot of
early
miles.
S10s. Okay.
I'm saying of the same generation. So
okay.
Let's say
I agree with you on that.
2000s era, 99 to the end of the run.
So the rounded S10s, I definitely agree with that. Those were they were okay.
The 2.2s and 4.3s, those motors are, in my eyes, one of the most bulletproof. And I'm not a Chevy guy.
Yeah, they'll run forever, but it's like the rest of the vehicle just falls apart around it.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Very true. So I found out this past week that the gauge surround for the round body S10s for the just the surround sell for hundreds of dollars.
The surround? What do you mean the surround?
Like there's a plastic piece that goes around the gauge cluster.
Yeah.
That piece if it's in pristine condition, sells for hundreds of dollars.
Why?
Because they all break
I have
and
so
nobody
many of
repops
those.
them.
What,
I have so
really?
many of those, he
Yeah.
says.
I literally have junked like 15 round Blazers.
You know, I didn't know this was even a thing, but so
Wow.
the people I bought my engine from run a junkyard, and she was telling me that she buys those S10s all the time, just because she's always looking for that right there. Will to her, she'll buy the vehicle just for that.
So my 99 GMC Jimmy, the key switch broke, and I didn't realize it had a reverse thorax bit screw up in the middle of it. So I was prying on it because it had a combination of clips and screws, and I broke it. It snapped, and I was like, dang it. I can just go get another one of these. The GMC column is different than the Chevy column.
Really?
Because the steering wheel and the housing is slightly different because the dash is slightly different.
Oh.
So to get that little plastic clamshell for the top and bottom of the column, I priced it and it was like $190 to buy a repop one. And no junkyard ever had one because everybody did the same thing I did and didn't know about the secret crazy screw and then went and pulled on them and they broke.
Yeah.
So I drove that vehicle forever and it looked like somebody had stole it. Every time somebody rolled up on me, like, what's going on with your column? I'm just like, don't worry about that.
Nothing. It's fine.
It's fine.
Have you ever seen those keys that look like a stubby screwdriver?
No.
So it looks like a stubby screwdriver, but it has your key coming out of it.
Maybe. No, like a stubby screwdriver handle with a key.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that at the key store hanging on a shelf.
Never seen that.
You never
Wow.
I want They look
Have you ever
awesome.
seen the even better ones, the key place we have in town, you can get them in, I think, 10 millimeter. There's a couple different sizes, but it's a box end wrench on one end, and it's a key on the other end.
That's kind of cool. I've never seen that either. I don't visit the key store very often.
I do constantly.
Let me know how much those are, and I'll pay you to ship a few to me because I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, they got a lot of neat stuff at the old key. It's Siouxland Lock and Key, and I trust them with all my keys. I do not go to hardware stores for keys. They're more expensive, but I never have to get keys remade. They're always perfect, and I enjoy their company.
My cousin's a locksmith, so
They
I really don't think about it because I just go, "Hey, Tommy, I need a key for this," and he comes and he does it, and then he hands me a key and walks away. It's perfect.
I actually had a mobile guy that he was actually way better on price, and I used him for a while when I got a couple new vehicles that the keys were very expensive, obviously. And he came to my house, programmed all the keys, gave me new keys, and said, if you have any problems with them, call me. And I gave his name out to a ton of people, thought it was absolutely great. 3 months later, every key that he sold me, the battery went bad in.
Oh.
And I'm just like, okay, well, he said call him. I shouldn't have to pay for these batteries. They're not even old. So I call him up, and he's like, we don't cover batteries. You got to go to the parts store. And I'm just like, nope, I'm done with you. I gave you like $300 to make keys. You can give me batteries.
Yeah, exactly. My cousin's actually a mobile locksmith. That's what he does. He's done it for almost 20 years now. He loves that job. He does lockouts and stuff too, but it's really handy to have him around.
I have a buddy. I don't pay for locksmithing because I have a buddy who used to work for a towing company, and they used to do repos. So he got really good at opening up cars to just, unlock steering wheels, break into them, whatever he needed to do to move them, for towing purposes and repo purposes. And he has all the tools to unlock cars, and he enjoys that a little too much at times. So when you're like, this is locked in there, he's like, I'll be there. Just where you at? And he just shows up. He unlocks that thing, and he's just like, see how I did that? I'm pretty awesome. I'm like, yes, you are. Here's a cookie.
I wish my friends gave me cookies.
Hey.
Paul?
Shopcat had somebody quote him $40 to make a key. The whole lock set was only $20.
Paul, I'm telling you, Ford Focuses are good cars. No matter what dude says.
I don't. I'm not saying they're horrible cars. I'm just saying I wouldn't invest a lot of money in one. It's like a
So-
Chevy
Can't own one.
Cavalier.
Don't
Chevy
get going.
Cavaliers. Well, as I said, so listen to me out. Chevy
Do it.
Cavaliers are not horrible. It's just you don't want to spend a lot of money on one.
I'm just saying, I'm looking for around a 93 two-door. If it already is a Z24, cool. I would be
So-
very interested.
I actually looked at a Focus today for my same buddy's kid, and this old man has this little car lot outside of town, or well, the next town north, and he's always got these really nice cars on it. And I occasionally call him just to laugh because he has ridiculous prices on them, and he doesn't care if he sells stuff. I think he only does it so he can license cars in like a shady fashion. So here's this two-door hatchback 2001 ZX3 Focus, and it's got 66,000 original miles, brand new tires, beautiful. It looks brand new. So I blue booked it. I was like, it blue books for like $3,600. Nothing really spectacular. And I called him. I said, hey, what do you want for this? $6,800. I'm just like, good luck. He's like, you can drive it to California, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but I'm not headed there, so
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. He's
That
nuts.
sells for more than my F-350 would, I think.
Exactly. And it's like, so I blue book things, but then I look at the NADA value, because at the end of the day, blue book is a number, that's great, but NADA value is the actual number you can get it insured for. So if you're going to spend money on it and you're only going to get this much back from the insurance company when it gets wrecked, that's the important number to know, not how much you can give for it and regret. So
unless you do agreed upon value on insurance, and that only works for something that you have a boatload of money into a car that's really and truly doesn't book anymore, like
Correct.
older stuff. But
yeah, and they expect you not to drive that daily.
Exactly. They expect you to keep it put up most of the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because that's when they take stated mileage too. And if
Yes.
they come back and say, you put 8,000 miles on that this year, we're not insuring that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a great way to do for things that you just don't drive a lot. But
Yeah, it's like my Impala, Galaxy, all those things are stated values because
I'm going to do stated value on this car before I leave.
it's
because
actually cheaper and
Yeah.
you can be insured. Like a lot of people don't realize your garage doesn't pay for your car. Okay.
Right.
So if you don't have a stated value on your car, a lot of times your car isn't covered if your garage falls in on it.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of one of those, your car's ruined. Car insurance doesn't cover that because you either had liability or full coverage. Full coverage only works when you're on the road and you get hit.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work when a tree lands on it. There's all these other underwriting things.
Yeah. So
Where,
I try to cover all my cars for I can't even think what it's called, but it's where like anything in nature happens to it. If there's a hailstorm or something like that.
Yeah.
And
and there's it's storage insurance. And storage insurance is cheap. It's like $8 a month.
Yeah.
But it covers for everything. And then on top of that, you just get a stated value. So you get your storage insurance, stated value. You don't insure it for being on the road. And then that insurance costs you $10 a month on that car, and it's good for 20 grand,
Yeah. Yeah. So I like stated. I like that for cars you don't drive a lot. But you're right. If you don't know what a comprehensive. That's exactly what it was. I couldn't think of the name.
So I have my motorcycle and my white 01 Mustang put in storage. Now this storage unit, I can't find anybody to give me a policy on it. It's detached from my house, but it's close to my house. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's not very far from where I live, but I can't find anybody to write a policy for it. Any ideas?
Yeah, my brain hurts.
So it's on your land. It's a building.
Nope, it's not on my land.
So it's not on your land. So you don't own it.
I do not. I rent.
Okay, so you can still put a listed value on any of your things, and it's going to cover it no matter where those things live.
How do you do that?
And you can do that on your home mortgage policy.
I was
No,
told
it-
that if
If it's a
something
structure
happened
that
to
you
it,
don't own,
yeah,
so let's say, because you don't own the shed that this is, right? You
right.
just own the stuff in it. So if you put a listed price with comprehensive on those items, they don't have to be in your possession or place. If they get wrecked in storage or at somebody else's house that you're storing them at, it doesn't matter. It still pays out.
Yeah.
How do you put a? But that would change all the time because I'm either putting a car in or I'm taking a car out.
It doesn't matter. So like all my vehicles that sit outside in the weeds, if I know they have a value, I'll put a stated value on them and comprehensive. And if a tree falls on it out in the middle of the field, 50 miles from here, it's still covered. And it can
Really?
sit outside. The insurance company doesn't even care.
They don't care. Yeah, they don't care at all. But they don't ask.
Yep.
So, well,
So
I
what
got
do
to
you-
jump off here. I got to do some stuff before I go to bed tonight.
All right.
Y'all have a good evening, and I'll catch y'all next week.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
See you now.
Hey, what about your video? Oh,
Yeah.
he's got a new video coming out tomorrow morning. He didn't say that. He's supposed to plug his own channel.
Gotcha.
Dummy. So I have Geico. If I call Geico and say, hey, I want to have a stated value for, I don't know how many vehicles I have now, but on every one of them, they'll do it.
Yeah, you just tell them it's either a classic or something you don't drive regularly. It can't be a daily. So if it's just something you're storing and it has a value, they'll do a listed value or they can do a inspection on it. They'll usually require you to send them some pictures. Because they'll want to know they're not, insuring some husk of a car. But it's generally how it's done. Like I do so much changes on my insurance constantly. My insurance lady I text her. She has my phone number, I have hers, and I just text her and she takes care of it. So
I kind of have the same thing, but mine's just on the app. David Forsaken Steel said 9 a.m. new video will be up tomorrow morning. So everybody go check it out. Give him some views.
Oh, what the heck? So I got a car hoard I have to go look at soon. It's going to be awesome.
I like car hoards.
Old couple that has many, many vehicles sitting in a field and they're just tired of them and they want to sell them all. So my buddy sent me something at 4 o'clock this afternoon for a Ford Custom 500. It looks like about a 73. It's an auction. Current bid's $600.
So it's called what do you call it? Content insurance. Content insurance. Hey, is my pen out there, you guys?
I think contents insurance is what a stated value on your garage is contents. And so I have that on my garage too, just to cover all my tools. Because your garage only covers, the insurance on your garage only covers what it takes to rebuild your garage. It doesn't cover anything to replace anything that may get damaged if something happens to it. So then you got to get a stated contents on your contents of your garage to get all your tools replaced.
So you're calling it content insurance?
Yeah, for anything that's in your garage of your own.
Oh my God. What the crap?
Because I had to up that again because they ask you, well, what's your estimated value on all the stuff? And I'm like, well, I have 60 grand in tools alone. So I got to have that on my garage on top of what it'll cost to rebuild my garage.
It's funny, the insurance company actually just called me today. The one for the house, because the guy retired. And I used to have both my policies together. But when we bought the Camry many years ago, they wanted way too much money a month to keep both of them together. So they were trying to get me to come back and bundle. So content insurance. I'll have to remember that. to, if I can remember to look at it tomorrow.
There's tons of good insurances. You definitely
Stream
should.
idea. Your review of the. Man, I got so much going on. I don't know if I could do another part of the channel.
Part of the channel. What?
Zara says that I should do a review thing, review people. I don't think I could do it. Got too much going on.
Because I don't understand what you're reviewing. Oh. Oh yeah, that's way different from what we do. Yeah, content insurance is usually up and above what the cost of rebuilding the structure is. Huh.
I guess I got to kind of look into this stuff because I've had the same insurance on the house for, well, the whole time I've owned it.
Oh.
Yeah. Probably time to look into changing it a bit.
Yeah, because usually on your home, there again, it's stated values. So if you've estimated the stated value of a previous amount that sets the price of the insurance, now let's say the value of your house has gone up drastically. If something happens to it, and they're only going to give you the stated value of the policy, not what it's worth.
Ooh.
But on the other hand, if you up the policy, it's probably going to cost you more.
Yeah, well, Brian, what we're saying is that I rent a storage. I rent storage for vehicles and other stuff. So I have this huge storage unit that I rent, but I have my motorcycle, my new age Mustangs in there, all of my parts for my 66 is in there. And then a whole bunch of other stuff. So if for some reason something happened to that place, I'd probably be screwed. I've tried to buy the building, but they never let me.
Oh,
well,
towing. Hellberg Auctions. I'm about to figure out what year this 500 is. So do you also subscribe to a ton of online auction sites to buy cars?
I don't. I've never actually bought from an auction, to be honest with you.
I do constantly.
My main thing is Marketplace.
Oh, I love auctions.
We were just watching Diesel Creek before it came on tonight. Could be different in the U.S. It probably is. And he was pushing the auctions.
Buffalo Center, Iowa. What is this website?
So what has Dude's been doing since the LS? Sleeping?
Working. Been trying to square away all my vehicles for the year. So I got the 66 out, obviously. We talked about that. It needs rear to gone through, longer studs put on, a once over on everything. My F-150 in that picture needs a starter badly. Like you can beat on it, it'll start, but that's about it. And I just got done rebuilding the whole front end of that truck, so I'm really mad that right after I did that, the starter went out.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So my 05 needs a shock. My Nissan I drive every day needs valve cover gaskets. That Ford Ranger needs a bunch of stuff. Might help on that a little bit. That 90 needs a rear wheel cylinder real bad. My Fairlane needs the front suspension put back on it. Galaxy needs a carburetor when it comes out of storage. Camaro needs some kind of engine or body mount that's making noise. So it's just the accumulation of a lot of vehicles that all do things, but they all have something broke. And then I have a Chevelle that I need to put a motor back together for. So,
and then you still have a field full of vehicles.
Yeah, that's just the running and driving license one. I also have my 78. I started my 78 Chevy up. And I just need to finish that truck. It just sits there all sad and just needs a few things put back together on it. But I want to restore that truck right because I think a 78 GMC half-ton four-wheel drive is worth a bunch of money if you do it right.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about selling that truck when it's done. So
Is that the one you were moving?
on my TikTok.
Yeah. So I watched one on TikTok. You're moving. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that truck forever. And I bought it because I was actually going to drive it. I mean, that's how long ago is when you actually bought a square body to drive as a daily. And it came with a 454 in it. And I got it for $600. So it was like, hey, it's got a 454 in it. It's got a clean body. It's a half ton with a flatbed, which didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I have a box for it. But then the more and more I've worked on that truck, the more and more, like every time I fix something, something else breaks. So I've gone through all the differentials on that truck. I rebuilt a brand new 350 for it, brand new transmission, brand new rebuilt transfer case. I redid all the wiring in the truck, new interior. It just needs a little bit of body work and a box. Well, then once we got really far into it, I was actually changing the dual tank setup because I was trying to get the dual tanks to work. And when I pulled the passenger tank off the frame, I realized the frame's been plated. And I was like, what? Why is this frame plated? And I noticed when I took the motor out of the truck, I had to actually get a, what do you call it? A hydraulic ram. What do they call that kit? So essentially, you take a hydraulic ram with a little pumper on it, and I had to stick it between the frame rails and push it out. I had to porta power it. So it's a common issue with square body Chevys, if you didn't know. Yeah, 73 to 82, the frames, the front cross member is not very good. That's the cross member that sits under the motor. So when you pull the motor out and you go to put a motor back in, they'll actually sag in on each other, like old Mustangs did with the shock towers. So square body Chevys will do that. And in 82, they actually changed that cross member to be stronger so it doesn't do that anymore. So when we pulled the motor, it wasn't a big deal. When we put the motor back in, we couldn't get the engine bolts to line up. Like they would not go in on the engine mounts. So we porta powered it out, stuck the bolts in, boom, fixed, no big deal. But I should have known the frame was tweaking in that bad because the frame had been cut in the center and plated. This is the only truck I've ever owned where once I decoded the VIN, I realized this was a factory half-ton four-wheel drive short box. It has a flatbed on it because somebody lengthened the frame back to a long box.
Oh, no. But was it done right?
Well, here's the thing. It was done, and it was done well enough to hold. They actually butt welded a piece of Chevy frame back in because you can tell it's a piece of Chevy frame because it's identical in every way. So they had another frame that they cut a chunk out of and welded it in, and they just butt welded it on each side of the patch. And then they plated it on the inside past each weld and welded that all into the inside of the frame. So it's not like it's going to break, but knowing now that it's a factory half-ton four-wheel drive short box, I just want to cut the frame and actually fish plate it correctly like you're supposed to when you cut a frame and put a short box on it because it'd be worth more with a short box. So it kind of went from like, I was just going to throw a box on it. But the problem is I've never taken the flatbed off. And then I start questioning, I checked the wheelbase. It is correct to what a long box should be. But because they stretched the frame, is the box going to line up where the bolt holes live?
Probably not.
Exactly. So
Probably not.
I'm at the point where it's like, I actually have a 78 short box chassis to where I could just migrate all my drivetrain over to it, put my cab on it and get a short box. And now it's a factory short box again, or shorten this frame and put a short box on it. So I've turned almost got this project done into well, let's blow it all apart again.
I've been there.
Yeah. But I mean, the truck has very little rust on it. It has factory tack dash. I swapped out the full-time transfer case for a part-time 205. It's got 355 gears, so even with a 3-speed, it goes down the highway good. Where factory, they were like 373 or lower, which isn't great when you're talking fuel mileage and stuff. The motors are rebuilt 355, RV cam, good set of heads. I mean, it's a good truck.
It fired right up. I was like, there's no way that thing's been sitting that long, but it fired right up. I was like, wow.
Well, and a lot of people give me shit about it because they're like, you just let it crank over. I said, yeah, it's been sitting. I let them crank over until they give me some oil pressure, and then I pump the gas to get some fuel.
Well, yeah, that's what you're supposed to. I mean,
yeah, I've had some people like, well, why'd you just crank it so long? You're killing that starter. I'm like, I'd rather kill the starter than the engine. So
starters are more resilient than what people think. I mean,
yeah, I've had starters glowing before.
Oh yeah. Brian says he loves his 14 Focus. I'm telling you, there's a lot of lovers for Focuses. I'm kind of one.
All I've ever done is work on them from poor owners, so my view may not be a very good view of them.
I guess if you haven't driven one, like driven it for a while. So the first Focus that I kind of started liking them, I picked the thing up for dirt cheap, sold it to my ex-father-in-law. He drove the wheels off, and I had to put some work into it. But fast forward a couple years later, he's still driving it. Thousands and thousands of miles, almost nothing into it. And the starter craps out. I just got my lift. So first time this thing's seen a lift since the time we've owned it.
Yep.
Starter shit out. So
here, you want a 2005 blue Ford Focus?
How much?
It's got 6 days left on the bid, and we're currently at $70.
Oh my! Where is it?
Lamar's, Iowa.
Yeah, see, that's the problem.
Yeah.
But this Focus is up on my lift, and it's so rotted that every couple of minutes you can feel the car sink down a little bit.
Yeah, that's not good.
And I am chasing the clock to replace the starter because he just needed a starter for like another 2 months so you get another vehicle. But it was pretty scary when you feel it moving down and hear it. Ooh. You're like, oh my god, I gotta go quick.
2004 Mustang.
I have some fun parts to put on the Mustang. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
So I got this. I got a couple of things for my birthday. A couple of months ago.
No keys. Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah, so you don't know if it runs.
Yep.
That's scary.
This is a tow auction house, so it's stuff that's been towed or repossessed.
Oh.
Ooh, that's not a bad looking 2-wheel drive 96 extended cab pickup.
I can't personally get any more vehicles right now.
Ooh, this one says runs. Ooh, it says runs. Oh my.
Look at those.
Oh, look at that.
They're side scoops. So I got these. These are lower scoops that go behind the door on the lower part of the. This is for the 01 Mustang, and then I have the window delete ones.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've seen those for the Mustangs.
Yep,
for the 01s, and then I got a new hood. So I have some fun bits to go on this car.
Right.
And I'm kind of excited. I actually can't wait to pull that one out of storage. But if I pull that one out of storage, I got to put something else in for the summer.
I don't know what year exactly this car is. Somebody was driving this one. It's got a battery sitting in the passenger seat. It says runs. Got a baby seat back there.
Grilling and chilling. What's up?
Somebody was driving this when it got repoed, and it's got handicap plates on it, which is even better.
Yeah, you know that's not always a bad thing. That means that it hasn't
somebody
been
was driving. Yeah. Handicap plates are a plus for possibly driven slowly.
Mm-hmm. Although I've seen some handicapped vehicles that are real crap.
Oh, yeah.
Corey, what's up?
I don't know what year this thing is. So let's say 77?
I wish you could pull it up on screen. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's a 77, I'm pretty sure. Well, here. 1 second. How do I...
What are you doing, Daisy? I got my old dog down here at my feet. I don't know what she wants. This is the scary one. If you touch it, it'll bark at you.
Okay, so here we go. Share screen.
Did you get fed tonight, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it sharing? You got to bring it up there. There you go. What year is that Ford 500?
Well, you said 74, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the big way. It's got to be 70s. Got to be.
Yeah, it's got to be a 70. She's in good, clean shape, though. Look at her.
That thing's a boat. What's it got for a motor?
It doesn't say, but it says it runs.
Boy, is that a boat.
I might have to buy this car.
Might have to buy this car.
Look how clean it is. I mean, that thing's solid.
Oh, it's huge. I love it. Brian says 78.
All right. I believe you. Because I don't have any idea.
What's up with that horse trailer?
Yeah, it looks a little wrecked. That's a cattle trailer. She's a little mangled.
We got the Dodge in the background. It's got its ass kicked.
Yeah. You got a Cobalt Cavalier back here with a blown out airbag, looks like.
Yeah, garbage.
And it does make me wonder what kind of motor it is, because there again, it's late 70s. If it's got 351, that's a decent motor for some other projects I got.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's a good bet. This car right now has got a $500 bid on it.
Ooh.
So,
And that's close to you?
Oh, yeah, it's only 20 minutes away.
Oh, Jesus, man. I'd put a cap of $1,500 and
Yeah, if it runs. I mean, that's...
you'd probably get it. That could be a fun car.
I could cruise that car. I don't need any more 4-doors, but I could cruise that car.
The way it sits, I guarantee that thing is smogged out beyond nothing else.
Yeah, if it's a late 70s for sure. That's easy. You can delete all that.
Yeah, you can.
Ooh. Minivan, truck. A lot of wrecked stuff in here. Here you go. F550.
Yes.
That's a good looking truck. It's only a little wrecked. A good chassis though. Has keys. I'm looking for something with a V10 in it. So
You keep saying that. I can't believe you're one of the very few people that I know that would look for a V10.
Because that's why I'm doing it.
Because you like them?
I don't know yet. I've never had one.
Oh.
Has keys, does not run. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, float along. Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, that sounds like a big ass car. I want a Crown Vic.
Why? Everybody has a Crown Vic.
Because it's the first off, it's
Ooh, look at that
it's
guy.
the top car in thing, and then I just want one. I used to love when I worked at the dealership, and a cop car would come in and you get to work on it. It was just awesome.
Oh, she's rusty. Oh, she's rusty.
How bad?
Pretty rusty. Here we go. 1 second. There it is. So you like this one? I would buy this rusty because I just want one to beat around in.
Probably something around 2000s, somewhere around there. I wouldn't.
Yep.
I'd take an old one too, if possible.
Boom.
Oh hell yes!
Like it's even got decent tires on it.
What was that 87?
Look at that. It doesn't give a year. Says it doesn't run.
It's a square. It's square, so that's got to be 80s.
Look at that rust.
I ain't nothing.
I know. You could totally run that.
Oh,
That-
good.
Just put a little lift on it, some bigger tires, just beat her up until she doesn't have no more to give.
Stop at the Walmart, get some good stuff.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah. What's that next to it?
This thing?
A red thing.
This thing's probably a Ranger, I'm guessing. Looks rangery.
And then you got what's sitting next? Is that that's another van? That's a Honda.
That's a minivan. That's a Buick. That's a
Yeah.
Dodge Caravan. That's a transit van or one of those Windstar, not Windstar, Lumina vans.
What do they want for this?
This is currently at $75 bid.
Really?
I mean, even if it had a blown up motor, I could put a motor in it.
Right? Dude, you could fix that body.
I wouldn't even care.
That's sweet though. It probably has a 302 in it.
Yeah. Broncos came with 351s, but they were a little harder to find. I've seen more Broncos with 351s than pickups, to tell you the truth.
So Cody, you like the V10s, huh?
I like the V10s. Oh, that one beside it that was wrecked was a Colorado. Here you go. You got yourself a 94 Jeep Grand Cherokee.
58 Crown Vic with a 2006 Mustang, a 2007 Mustang drivetrain. That'd be pretty cool.
Ooh, you want a 2004 Navigator?
Not in any way.
Ooh, there's a 2500 2001 Chevy.
How much are the fees? That's my question.
There's no fees. It's a tow auction.
Damn it. Living in the wrong state again.
Yep.
So what would you do? You'd have to go park them at the field?
Yeah, just park them, get them whenever I feel like it. Here you go, 2500 07 2500 Silverado rolled, 6.2 liter, 40,000 original miles.
Find me a Cummins cheap.
That's something you're not going to find around here cheap ever.
I kind of want to put a Cummins in my Jeep.
Like a 4BT?
Like a 12 valve.
Really? They don't fit in Jeeps very well.
Well, that's okay.
You could do a 4BT. But this Pacifica has a motor falling out of the bottom of it.
I wonder what would bolt up to the drivetrain I currently have.
What's the drivetrain?
Because I got the selected track for the transfer case. I don't know what the hell it's got for a transmission.
Select a smack.
Yeah. Jock, he says.
It's good until it's not. Might buy something with an LS motor in it. I don't know why.
Because you just worked on one and you think they're cool.
No, I'm gonna build something cool. I just need to buy something though that already is. So here's my plan. It's a long-term plan. I got to find all the pieces before I can make it happen. So I want a wagon. I've wanted a wagon for a while.
Yeah, we talked about that before.
I'm completely priced out of older wagons. Like I'm not giving 13 grand for a stock 60s wagon. I'm just not.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel it's too much money for something you're just going to cruise around in and not do anything with. And then at the end of the day, I want it to be a big block, which makes it even more expensive. Because I do want it to be like kind of a fast wagon, but not like I'm not gonna drag race it. I just want to be able to smoke tires and make people like wish they were as cool as my wagon. So I actually looked for a long time for a Cadillac CTS-V wagon.
Yeah,
but then
cool.
The more I looked into those cars, the more I realized they kind of suck. and they have lots of problems, so I don't really want one. So my goal here is I like G bodies. I want to find a 78 to 84 G body wagon. I don't care what brand, it doesn't matter. They're all the same thing. It doesn't have to run, it doesn't have to drive. All it has to have is a good frame, and not even a great frame. I can deal with a rusty-ish frame.
What about
It
a
just-
rotted frame?
It just has to have the shell. I don't care about the interior. I don't care about the front clip. I just need it to be a rust-free cowl to tailgate car.
Oh. I was gonna
And
say, what
then-
about an El Camino? Make that into a.
El Caminos, no, I don't like El Caminos.
I don't like the G bodies.
Yeah, but they're gross. So what I'd like to do with this is you take a square body S10 front differential, like what's in a Cyclone or a Typhoon. You build it up exactly like the Cyclone and Typhoon was. You graft that into the G-body chassis. You drop a 6-liter in there with an all-wheel drive setup out of like a Denali or a Tahoe or something. You leave the 10-bolt in the back. You put some suspension parts on there so it'll hook up. You can put a turbo on there, and then you put a Regal front end, and you make it a Grand National Regal wagon, turbocharged 6-liter all-wheel drive.
That's a lot.
I got hefty goals, man.
I wish you the best of luck, and I'll be in your corner cheering you on. But holy crap!
I think it'd be a lot easier to build than you think.
Yeah,
And I got all the S10 portion of the parts. So I just got to find the wagon and the LS motor and transfer case. All seems pretty simple, right?
I mean, just keep looking on that site. You'll find something.
Ooh, 94 Grand Prix. Ooh, Here's another Fuckus. 2007 white Ford Fuckus.
Love those focuses. I'm telling you.
This one's
They're
actually
everywhere.
clean.
I do not want to put a Hellcat motor in the Jeep. I want a diesel. They did not come through the States with diesels, and I want one.
I don't know
They
why
put
you want the
diesels.
headache of a diesel.
I don't know either.
Oh, this car is dirty as no get out inside, but it's really clean on the outside. Says it.
You know what
runs.
really sucks is this Focus. So my mom's green one that's out back. I was hoping that this next one that I got was going to need an interior because she's got heated seats and they're mint. The interior is absolutely mint on this car. So I get this one and I'm like, all right, I'm going to swap this. And I'm like, oh my God, this one's clean as hell too.
Click on the picture.
Hold on, I was reading stuff.
Boom.
Oh yeah.
How clean that bad boy is. Look at it.
No rust. Oh my God, what would that be like?
Says it runs.
What's the bid on it?
$100.
Oh my God. So you pay $100 and that's it, if that's what it goes for?
Yeah.
I wish I was closer. I really do. Twin turbo, yeah, that would be pretty
It's
cool.
clean. Look at that thing.
It's my daily driver too, though, Brian. That's the other problem. That is stupid clean. That doesn't look like it's ever had an accident.
Nope.
What was that, 06?
I think it's 07.
Yeah, same thing. They were the same till 08, I think.
The interior is gross.
Oh, I imagine. I imagine that.
It looks like McDonald's threw up in there.
That's pretty normal. I can't say that I've really seen horror stories besides rot with them. You know, they got that. I think that's what's that 2.3 motor in it. Is that the 2.3? Is that 2.0? I think it was an option for either 2.3 or 2.0.
Ranger danger. Oh, this isn't even a Ranger. It's a Mazda pickup.
Still. Hi, Danger Ranger.
This one's been on fire.
Have you checked
dang,
out?
I know this car.
Have you checked out the frame in your Ranger?
Yeah, it's perfect.
even in the rear.
Yep, because I looked for those because we actually had to fix one where the leaf springs went through the box floor.
Yeah.
It's a common thing.
Oh yeah, I didn't know if you got it that bad down there or not.
Yep. Yep. My brother-in-law's brother, he brought me one where he's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on in the back. We hauled a bunch of weight with it. Now something's broke. And he drove it like 2 hours to get here. And when he got here, it's like, oh, dang, your carrier bearings are shot. Your leaf springs have punched through the freaking truck bed floor. I mean, the frame was messed up. And we fixed it all in a weekend, and he drove it home. So, and he still drives that truck. Like, it's got like 300 and some thousand miles on it.
My stepdad's F-150. I didn't record any of it. I probably should have because it would have made okay content. It's kind of thin in the rear of the frame of that too, and he loads the hell out of it. So I'm thinking I should probably plate it before it collapses.
Okay, we're gonna throw this up here just so I can tell a story about some things.
I like stories.
Story time.
This
This is how I know these cars are towed locally. So I remember seeing this car at a couple car shows because all the big wheel guys got to show up.
Of course.
So yeah, you can see where he's got this sweet painted on Chevy logo here, and he's got the big wheels on. You can see how the interior looks real plush.
Oh my!
I'm pretty sure she caught on fire somewhere.
Oh my!
And I remember seeing this car last year at a car show. So I guess his year didn't end well.
What is it, a Capri?
Yeah, it's a Caprice.
Yeah.
Or an Impala. I don't know. A lot of these guys have these. I don't know what they call these ones. I guess a box. I don't know what the lingo is.
I almost bought one a couple years ago.
But here's the thing. You go to these car shows, and they got all these guys with these big wheels. There's probably like 15 of them that show up with cars like this. And it's whatever. That's their deal, right? But they all open their hoods, and they got like a junkyard LS motor just jammed in there. And they're all badly wired, crap together. They run like shit. And it's just like, they're just all slapped together, and they're worried about their subwoofers and their big wheels more than they are making it run right.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just kind of one of those, why?
I don't understand. So that Carolina lean and the huge wheels.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
That car actually has a bid on it. Wow.
How much is the bid?
$25.
Man, I wish we had stuff like that here. I really do. That's crazy.
I guess if you wanted to give $25 for it.
Probably
What year is your Grand Cherokee?
it's 2001.
Oh, this is the 94.
Yeah, so that would be the, what do they call it? Not XJ.
This one's seen things.
It's seen some shit.
Like every panel on this SHO is dented.
Ooh. What year?
Oh no. The front tires are aiming at each other. That's a bad sign, right?
I mean, yeah, but how's the body?
Dented on every corner, but not rusty.
Whiskey dents or?
Pretty aggressive dents.
Uh,
Here's a Fusion, 2012 Fusion.
ugh.
I don't know if those are very good cars. I've never had to work on one.
I was working at the Ford dealership when those things come out. And so PDI, and you know what PDI means, go grab the car, bring it in, put all the plastic shit on and make it. So I was getting ready to deliver one of those. And I got down the list, grabbed a plate, went to go take it for a drive. I drove it, basically the highway back and forth, and I brought it back. I parked out front. I'm like, you need the transmission guy to look at this thing. It is garbage. So about an hour later, he comes over to me and he's like, Grady, that's the way that is. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, it's a CVT transmission.
Oh yeah.
It feels like a snowmobile taking off. I'm like, that's designed to be that shitty. He's like, yeah.
And then when they break, they just break. They don't even give you like you think you know when a transmission's going out, they just stop working.
They had so many reflashes to that computer because of that transmission.
Yep.
My personal opinion is they're garbage, and if you like them, cool.
I like how these cars get towed and they got like drinks still in the cup holders, and it's like, ugh.
And they've been in there for 6 months.
We're gonna talk about this one. This is a good one. People are bidding on this. It's gross. Here we go. Boop. Share screen. Boop. Boop. Oh yeah.
Oh my.
Look at it's even got the hefty lady chrome stickers on there.
Hefty lady, that's hilarious.
Oh yeah. Outlaw tattoos. Getting down. Oh,
Bob,
yeah.
would you drive that?
Look at that thing.
Bob, do you like the hefty lady stickers?
Yeah, I do.
Bob likes the hefty lady stickers.
Look at that interior.
Oh yeah.
Got the monster and the Starbucks still in the cup
I
holder.
could smell the way it is in there. You know it smells like freaking.
Oh yeah, look,
Oh,
they bedazzled the center console.
I bet you it smells a lot like Newports in there.
Look at it. Look how nice it is.
Oh my
Guess what that's currently bid up to right now?
god. Oh god, $1,000.
$3,200.
Makes sense.
It says it doesn't run. Like
Yeah.
whose wet dream is chrome hefty ladies on a two-tone 300?
This is a family channel, so I won't say.
Yeah, that is an aggressive kind of ugly.
Hell yeah. Beat the shit out of them all the time. I love doing PDIs because I would take, and I always had a certain route I'd go, and it was the longest route ever. Because you get paid, it depends on which one, but anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours to PDI these things. And you know it doesn't take that long to put the craft together and go take it for a ride. So you just go waste 45 minutes driving up and down the highway. The Toyota Tundra with was a 5.7, I think it was, something like that.
Yep.
I beat the hell out of one. I looked down at the speedometer and I was doing $110. I was like, oh. I didn't even realize I was going that fast, but that thing was quick.
Escape. Yaris.
Yars.
With Taurus. A couple Tauruses.
If they're not SHOs, I don't want to know.
Yeah, Tauruses were decent cars if you just want a daily. Buick Rendezvous.
Hitmobile.
Ooh, 98 red Pontiac Bonneville. What does she got? Ooh, she's got the leather. Could be an SSEI. Oh boy. She got the good stuff.
I'll give it a dick. Yeah. I hated so the Prius paid the best out of the whole lot. I don't know why, because it only took me like 25, 30 minutes to put that car together. But it was like 3.5 hours they would pay to PDI this car. And I would grab as many of the Priuses as possible to get them done and rack the hours in.
No keys. Ooh, an Avalanche. Sometimes Avalanches came with 8.1s if you got them in a 3/4 ton. I'm also looking for an 8.1.
Why?
I have a 4-door 85 long box 3/4 ton 2-wheel drive truck. And I'd like to just throw an 8.1 in with an Allison and just kind of update it and make it just a nice tow rig.
Yeah.
Because I don't need no diesel.
I do.
Why?
because I like them.
Why?
Because I want one.
This is a really clean extended cab long box S10 pickup. And it
I'm
looks like
a fan of
pulled
S10s
motor
too.
with a forklift.
I'm a fan of S10s too.
I've had enough of them to know I hate them. I mean, if you wanted to do something cool with them, I could see that. Like, I support anybody that wants to do something cool with one, but just to own it and like let it be it just has no interest to me.
They're good pickups, though. I mean, seriously, they're decent, reliable.
Oh boy, what is this Volvo gonna run me? I should get another Volvo.
Yes, you should.
This one's of very similar vintage. It's a '96 GLT 850 series. Looks like the same car inside. Oh, it's in much rougher shape.
Get around. Oh, from the dealership. Oh, I wonder how that works. How does that work if you wrap a car around a tree while you're test driving it? How does that work?
I guess that's between you and them.
Actually, we're going to be getting off here in a couple minutes, buddy.
Yeah, on that note, I better go back to actually looking for parts and doing what I was supposed to be doing on here.
Right.
Instead of looking at auctions for things I don't need.
Yeah. No, I got to edit my video. I didn't have a video this week. I really don't like not having videos ready.
Just roll with it. It's fine.
I know. I get a little obsessive.
I just give up for long periods at a time and just take off a month and here or there. Who cares?
So just gave the plate. I would be so pissed. Could you imagine? Yeah, I wrapped the car around a tree about 2 miles that away. Here's your plate.
I wouldn't even go back.
Wouldn't even go back.
Yeah, I'd be like, they don't have my license. I'm just going home. Get an Uber or something.
Really? No salesman in the car means they're liable. The dealership is.
Probably.
Wow.
It's their baby.
That is absolutely sad. Well, everybody, I think I'm going to take off. We've been going for 3 hours. That's long enough for me. Insurance, and if anything happens, put a claim on your insurance. I haven't test driven a new car in forever, so.
Oh, what the hell?
You got something else to show us?
Yeah. 1 second. I'll throw this up there.
Right.
Somebody can try to figure out what it is. It's not that hard to figure out, but it's aggressively messed up. There we go. 1 second. Share screen.
So
Now, believe it or not, this has a $25 bid on it. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think people walked away from that incident.
What the hell is it? Caravan?
It's a Caravan. Or was a Caravan? I mean, there's not much of that Caravan left.
Yo, what's up with that Mustang right there?
Yeah. There's a Mustang right there.
God damn, that car is done.
Yeah.
You don't think they walked away?
I don't know. Somebody didn't walk away. That looks pretty bad.
Is that a Caravan? It is. No, it's a
Town
Buick.
and Country. That's Town and Country.
No, that yeah.
Yeah, it's I guess the Chrysler version. So
Is that a freaking Corsica?
Yeah, it's a Corsica.
All right, man. That's awesome.
Got those
I haven't seen one of those in forever.
They're everywhere around here. They still exist
Really?
around here. Yep.
Yeah, they don't here.
Got F-150 over there. Got an Impala.
V-dub next to it.
It's an Impala. That's a V-dub.
Yep.
That thing's jacked.
Yeah.
No winners there.
I wonder why it's got a $25 bid. What's good on it? Maybe
All
the-
I'm guessing is they must. I think it's probably a scrapper.
Yeah.
You know, scrapper probably puts a $25 bid on everything, and then if it doesn't sell, he'll go pick it up and make $200 off scrap. See, that's the biggest problem around here is because scrap's so high, you're never going to get anything less than $400 because most things will go across scale for that. Anyway, on that note,
Damn. Oh, Cody said scrap. Yes, BW. We will be on BWs tomorrow night. I'm normally there unless I'm out in the garage. And yeah, front plate looks straight. He says, "Good night, Cody." Yeah, that's gonna do it for us here at the Junker Clunkers. I think I want to start calling it Junk Nation or something.
Junk Nation.
Junk Nation. What do you think of that?
It sounds. I'm not gonna say this is a family channel.
Yeah, maybe I ought to think about it a little longer.
Yeah, like Junk Nation seems like a male club of some kind.
I wasn't thinking of it like that. I was thinking further outside of that. You know,
I'm just saying a lot of whoa, 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 like some big explosions going off. Welcome to Junk Nation, and then like some man on pole acting.
All right, guys, I'm out of here.
Music.
Have a good night.